Useful.
Fire.
Wait.
Glitter.
Wait,
my,
I just realized something. I have sending,
Yes.
That question.
which has a range of any distance and even to other planes of existence.
Oh, I know where he's going with that. I know where he's going with that. Something tells me that there may be a guest appearance.
Just 25 words.
do donuts. I don't know.
I don't making that reference, and you keep forgetting that I've not seen.
No. I don't forget. I know that you haven't, but it will forever be hilarious. And the jester sending like clips will forever be some of my favorite moments from CR2. That and when
I have seen some of those.
That and when Matt played Gorth, the armless goblin stable keeper for the Moorbounders, which I actually made an NPC in my in-person game pretty closely based off of that NPC, and there is a chance you guys might actually come across him sometime.
So Dax may or may not have just became more menacing.
I mean, she's a rogue. I hope so.
A rogue and a ranger.
Did you just multi-class?
Uh-huh.
Oh, snap. We had our first multi-class. Let's go.
A rogue and a ranger is what she is.
Took a level in ranger. Okay. Let's see here. What did you do?
Do you have the prerequisites to multi-class ranger?
Mm-hmm.
What were the prerequisites for ranger?
I don't think it's very much.
It's not much.
It's usually I think it's like you have to have like a dex score of a certain amount.
Yeah,
Which I do.
Well, yeah, I would hope the rogue has a dex requirement that would hit a ranger. Cool. Some people think multiclassing breaks D&D. I think it's great. I love the fact that it just adds more flair and character to these characters. Hello, RT.
Oh, I love multi-classing too.
Yeah, I'm a huge
Me
fan
too.
of it.
Most of my characters are multi.
Well, and when people are like, no, multi-classing can break the game because of these reasons, I'm like, then the DM steps in and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and tweak this one thing so that you get to do what you want to do without breaking the game. It's like, it's not that hard. Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started because Melon is on their way.
Just give me 1 second, I gotta step away.
I have a new webcam, and it's really nice.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not going to use the other screen because actually that one might actually work. Hold on, let me go over here and see. Oh, I just need to make a couple adjustments. Okay. There we go.
Ugh.
All right, you know what? I was going to try to ride the contacts out tonight, and they're just not working. I'm going to get my glasses. I'll be right back.
Oh, speaking of glasses, I need my glasses.
What?
I said, speaking of glasses, I need my glasses.
Yeah, my right contact is being a butt today, so I'm going to go get my contacts.
Can't throw dragon? The fuck is wrong with me?
There it is. I just found it. Oh yeah, rangers need dex and wisdom of 13.
I think wisdom because there are spells that rangers can get.
Yes.
Indeed.
I never had that problem because most of the characters I've multi-class has started out as the ranger.
Yeah, I luckily have both of those.
All right.
Yeah. That's the thing, Fox. Even if you multi-class out of a class, you still need them from both.
Well, yeah, you need
Yeah.
whatever you're going to multi-class into also.
Are you trying to talk about making your little squirrel a multi-class dragon rider? Because I'm totally not here for that.
No.
No.
I was
Man, you
kidding.
know
Well,
what's gonna happen with the squirrel.
I do. I was just kidding.
A multi-class dragon rider. Now that would be awesome.
No, if I get the dragon rider, it's just they're just going to strictly be a dragon rider.
Yeah. That's something that would be kind of silly to multi-class.
No, I would have too much fun as the dragon rider.
Mm-hmm. Well, the
Fuck
only
the
reason at that
multi-class
point,
part.
the only reason that you'd multi-class into anything at that point is just to get, like, for example, multi-classing in a rogue just to get their cunning action or whatever. Like, you would literally do it just to get like one trait or feature, which is not a bad thing to do. I technically did it with one of my NPCs, which the first chance I get to be a player in a game, I'm playing that character. I'm taking one of my NPCs and making them my character because I want to play it so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump over to here.
Is Barbot still playing background noise or music?
I'm gonna have it play music here in just a second.
And dropping the volume back down to 35.
I have it at 11.
Okay, there you go. So Bardbot should now be playing music for you as well as some ambient noise.
Yep.
Cool. As a quick thing for people who are watching, as you can see, we are missing 2 players tonight. Jesse is taking a extended break from the party for a bit for some character things he's working on. And Melon will be joining in a little bit. But in the meantime, as we get back, so last we left off, you guys had finally wrapped up your situation in the manner that you guys had been trying to get to. You guys had fought through, snuck through, fought through, and waded through a myriad of Low Hood gang members and successfully found the shipwright plans that you had originally been looking for, along with some other interesting pieces of information and clues throughout your journey that you then brought back to Cassivus and his den, where you handed over your quarry as well as received your reward. And also got some questions answered, asking things of him regarding some of the schematics that you found down in that underground workshop, some interesting things that you guys found throughout your adventuring down there. And he answered pretty much all of them for the most part, providing you some interesting information regarding the political climate of the city of Daroon and some potential people that may or may not be involved in actions around the city, including one of the scraps of parchment that Talina found in the clutched hand of one of the essentially scorched city guards that had a name on it. And when that name was given over to Cassivus, he just told you who it was, and it was the name Lord of Antrian Nephiliae, who was one of the city council members. And he gave you the rest of the city council members' names and just kind of explained the dynamic of how they are towards the city, as well as how they relate to city functioning and how they relate to the split that this city has between the main city of Daroon, where you are currently located, and the smaller, more hamlet, quaint side of the city, or North Daroon across the River Tyne. After leaving Cassivus's dens, basically bidding him adieu and saying that you guys were available for future work, you all kind of split up. Basil returned back to the docks to pick up his trade as a sailor, as a hired hand on the docks. Alexander decided to wander off back into the university district to maybe continue some of his studies and dig more into his powers. Dax and her newfound friend Scorch decided to basically take up basically kind of find a little hidey hole to take a nap in on one of the boats that are docked on the riverfront there. And then the rest of you had retreated to the Lucky Tankard to just kind of rest a bit, as well as Talina had some engagements to do and decided to grab her belongings to then venture off to her other performing engagement that she had throughout her week schedule, which I am forgetting the name of again because I am just that good at taking notes.
The Wizard and Wand.
That's right, the Wizard and Wand. Yes, that's right. I remember now. So, so as of right now, you guys are all kind of split up. Talina, you have returned to the Wizard and Wand, and essentially this is going to be at least a day or so after you guys have split up. So this is about just shy of 48 hours. So you are currently still at the Wizard and Wand. Grigor, you have returned to working your security job for the Glimmer's Curio Emporium. Man, it's hard to say fast. Glimmer's Curio Emporium. But so everybody's kind of giving up. My question is, Tip, you had wandered off to the nearest tree, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
What would Tip have done? Because everyone else kind of has a thing that they would have been doing. Tip is the one exception to this because you just into existence, into this realm at least, 2 days ago. What would Tip have done, I would say, in the 2 days since she just bamfed into existence?
She's gonna do what she normally does in these cases.
Okay.
Teleportation.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to snoop and
She's going to snoop.
investigate the town she finds herself in.
Okay. So in that case, I'm gonna get back to you because I'm gonna do this. We'll do this as a group because obviously there's gonna be a little more travel this particular session. So as you're kind of wandering, we'll go ahead and pan over. So Daxori, you with your newfound pupper friend Scorch had decided to take a nap in one of the boats, and having a very long and exhausting couple of days, you slept like a rock, and Scorch didn't bother you. After your very long rest, you awake to find yourself in the dim, poorly lit space of the underbelly of one of the small ships, sailing vessels here on the river. And as you wake up, you notice that the sound of water is lapping a little bit louder and the ship's rocking a little bit more than what you were expecting. Scorch is laying there next to you, and he is not asleep. He just has his head down, but as you wake up, he looks over at you, and tongue comes out and has that big dopey smile and panting a bit as he looks at you, and you two are basically there's no natural light coming in except for one section more forward on the ship, coming from it's a little staircase that goes up to the main deck, and there's only light coming through there, and there's no other light coming into the bottom of the ship except for that staircase.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to do?
So with that, Dax is gonna go ahead and she's going to slowly and kind of groggily try and stand herself up. And if the ship's rocking, back and forth, she's gonna try and make sure she doesn't fall over.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's not rocking that heavily. It's just rocking more than it was when you first laid down to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's good. Yeah, she's gonna stand up, and even with the little bit of light she can see because of her dark vision.
Yes. Yeah, you can see perfectly fine in here.
So she's basically gonna make her way to basically off the boat with Scorch, and so as she's leaving, like where they were, she's just gonna be like, "Scorch, come here, buddy," and she's gonna have him make sure he follows her on her way out.
Okay. Yeah. No animal handling check required. He and gets up and follows you. Actually, he doesn't bark. He just kind of goes. He kind of grumbles, but he follows you happily with his big dopey tongue hanging out. As you get to the staircase and start going up, you start to hear the sounds of conversation happening above deck. You hear several kind of mildly muffled voices from the fact that you're down below decks. But you do hear conversation happening above you.
With that, she's going to kind of like slow her pace, and she's going to try and approach in a cautious, quiet manner so that she can try and get a better sense of what the conversation is.
Okay. As you slow your pace, get to the stairwell and kind of slowly kind of move yourself that way, you hear two different kind of more gruff voices Not so much talking, but more grunting as performing some kind of manual labor above deck.
Okay. Is she able to tell like what part of the ship they're coming from? Like, are they coming from near the bow of the ship, near the stern?
So it's not a very big it's not a very big boat. This is the boat that you got on was not massive. So realistically, it's kind of the center part of the ship, basically almost above and behind you because of where the staircase is.
Mm-hmm.
For lack of a better description, have you played Sea of Thieves?
Yes.
Okay. Think of the mid-sized boat in Sea of Thieves. Not the galleon, but the frigate or the whatever it is.
Brigantine.
Yeah.
Brigantine. Yeah. Think that's obviously that's not an actual brigantine size, but Sea of Thieves brigantine size. Like that's kind of how big it is.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, then she's gonna kind of slowly walk up the stairs. But she's gonna be cautious because A, she doesn't want to get seen, but B,
Mhm.
she wants to try and see what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, so as you approach the stairs and slowly peek your head up just ever so slightly, you kind of have that wincing effect as the sunlight hits your face and you feel first you feel the warmth of the sun, and then immediately you feel this breeze of not sea air but like air that you feel in and around water. And as your vision kind of starts to come back from just this blinding white light like a flashbang, and you start to glance around a bit, you suddenly realize you are on the boat, but you are now in the middle of the river, and what you see is two of the sailors on the boat are trying to haul in a large fishing net, and suddenly you're like, oh, I'm on a fishing boat and they're out fishing right now.
With that, Dax is gonna kind of like smack her face and just kind of run her face down, her hand down her face.
Just face palm.
And she's gonna be like, yeah, and she's like, why didn't I think of this? And would she be able to tell how far away from shore she is from where she is?
Yeah, you can glance real quick, and the river, while as wide as it is, you can easily see, like, as you move your head back and forth, you can easily see both shores on either side. It's not like endless. So you can tell you're almost midway, almost middle of the river, between both sides of the shore. And for clarity's sake, you can tell that on what would be your left is the main city of Darun where you came from, and on your right looks to be the side of North Darun. And so the ship is essentially facing west.
Okay. Do either of the individuals that she can see look armed? Or
No.
do they have anything on them that would indicate that they might be armed?
You see one that has a knife in a sheath, like at the small of his back, but they both have their backs essentially to you, and they're hauling in they're very clearly busy, and they're covered in sweat and water and salt, and they've got they have like like sleeveless, like simple cloth tunics, and like they're barefoot. One of them has a simple bandana wrapped around like his head to kind of have like a sweatband. You do see a third individual up at the back of the ship who's at the helm, who is just keeping the wheel steady, and is actually a dwarf, and so he's standing on a wooden crate to be able to hold the wheel.
Dax is going to kind of walk up the stairs further, and once she gets in the doorway, she's just going to lean against it and just see if they notice her.
Lean against what?
The door frame, because I assume there's a door frame, right?
Well, there's a door frame, but it's okay. So not really. So like, you know how on the old ships there was like the stairway'd come up and you were just on deck. So there's nothing.
Okay, yeah.
There's nothing really. You could
yeah.
now, if you wanted to do that, in that case, what you could do is as you come up, you could lean against like the mast of the boat.
Yeah, she's gonna do that, and
Okay.
she's just gonna see if they notice her.
Okay.
And she's gonna signal Scorch to kind of just sit down next to her.
Okay. Roll me an animal handling on Scorch, real quick. By the way, you also now have ownership on a Scorch tile, so you will actually be able to look at his sheet, move him around, and such. When he's on the board, obviously. And for those who are watching, basically, up here, if you see the little game master thing, this is essentially where the boat is. It's kind of halfway between the river, between here and here.
18.
Yeah, I can't ping for some reason. I don't know what's going on. 18. Okay, yeah.
Hold Alt, and then it should work. Oh wait, what? Wait. Holding Alt gives it a different ping.
Oh, I know what
I
I'm
just
doing.
noticed.
Whoa, that's new.
Yeah. What?
There we go. I've never seen this shape before. I don't know what that is. That's cool. I like that.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
Okay.
That was shift click.
But yes, with an 18, Scorch just comes right up next to you and plops his butt down and just sits there waiting. Basically it takes about it only takes about 3 or so minutes of you standing there, just kind of hanging out before the dwarf at the back of the ship actually goes, "Hey, what are you doing on that ship then?" And he kind of and you see him, he's grabbing like the railing that's behind the helm, and he's like pulling himself up. So you can see him because it's just a railing, but he's got like his chin above the railing and he's looking at you, and he's got kind of a perplexed look on his face. And as he says this, the other two, while still trying to pull this huge fishing net in, are looking over their shoulders and going, "When did we take on a stowaway?"
Vax is gonna kind of look at the at the dwarf and then at the group of two, and as she's looking at them, she's trying to come up with a lie.
Okay.
And the first thing that comes up in her mind is, and she says this, I don't know what happened. I got attacked at some point and I woke up here.
Roll me a deception check.
That's 27.
27. Okay. Hang on a second. Uh, 27. Actually, 27 is perfectly fine. Yeah. I was trying to find something else, and I was like, wait a minute, why am I even looking? 27. Yeah. They go, all right. Well, can you help us with this? And it's one of the ones that's pulling the net in, and he's a little bit thinner than the other guy. The other guy's a little more stout, and he's looking like he's struggling a little bit. And as he says that, the dwarf's like, "Aye, if you're gonna be here, you're gonna work." And he plops down and gets back to the helm, and he tilts the wheel a bit as the ship was starting to get moved a bit from the river's current, and he had to like kind of wheel it again. And you realize at this point that the boat is actually getting like, he's actually doing a hard job of trying to keep the boat more or less steady as the river is a constant moving current.
Okay. Dax is gonna kind of look at the back up at the dwarf, and she's just gonna kind of yell out, "You know, what's in it for me? I'm not here willingly."
Well, for starters, unless you wish to swim to shore, a free ride?
She kind of puts her hand to her chin, and she's like, and she's not really in the mood for debating at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, and she hates getting wet, so she's like, you make an excellent argument. And so she kind of motions Scorch to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Gives him a bone, because she at this point now carries bones constantly on her.
I'm sure.
She gives Scorch a bone to kind of gnaw on while she makes her way over to the other two individuals to help.
Okay, cool. So you go over and begin to assist them. And while that's happening, we're going to go ahead and move over. So Talina, you have been at the Wizard and Wand for about a day. And you had a very successful performance the night before. And if you actually want to do this, go ahead and in-game roll me a D100 for me.
It's this button. 24.
Okay, you get 24 gold worth of tips from your previous show.
That did a lot of gold.
Yep, you had a very well. Wizard and Wand is a little more affluent area, so it definitely makes sense that you know that when you come perform at the Wizard and Wand, this is where you go to make your tips. You enjoy the other side of town because the people here are a little more stuck up, and a lot of the wizards and sorcerers and other magic inclined individuals here in the university district are a little bit more hoity-toity and kind of have their noses in the air, but they pay better. Yeah, you had a very successful night the night before, and now this next day, after waking up, you know that you have a little bit of time to yourself. You don't have any engagements till the evening. What would you like to do with your day?
Well, first off, I'm gonna grab breakfast.
Okay,
and,
sure. And they don't charge you
should
because you're
know-
performing here.
I should know their name, but Ty doesn't. So I'm gonna ask the DM. Hey DM, what's the name of the person behind the bar? Question mark?
Okay, so you come down, and actually, it's a new bartender that you do not recognize, and it is a young elf girl who looks to be, well, put it this way, the equivalent of the human like late teens, but clearly much older than that. And she has excuse me, I keep belching tonight. She has strawberry like blonde hair that's in several braids on the back of her head, and then they come together like little braids that come together into one massive braid. And she's wearing very modest, tavern keeper clothes, and she is putting together some plates of food for a few of the morning patrons. And you have not met this barkeep before.
I'm gonna just grab a stool at the bar.
Okay.
Wearing, probably not my entertaining set.
Mm-hmm.
Just my regular garb. Left my armor upstairs. I'm assuming upstairs or behind the stage or wherever my room is.
Sure. In this particular establishment, it's upstairs.
Let's go. Morning, new face.
And you see her kind of turn and go, "Oh, hello, you must be Talina."
Indeed, and you are?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My name is Shara. Common spelling.
Is there such a thing as common for Shara?
Shara.
Shara, okay.
Yes.
See, I spelled it with an E. Nice to meet you. One of those plates mine?
Oh, yes. Here you go. And she runs over, she grabs it, and she brings it over, and she's got this big, beautiful smile. And you can see now that she's facing you, she has like beautiful, verdant green eyes that look like emeralds.
Nice.
She goes, here you go. And of course, this is part of you working here, of course. So no charge.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Is there anyone else eating at the bar?
No one else eating at the bar. There's one couple that's over in one of the front windows at a little, like a two-top table. And they seem to be drinking some sort of hot liquid. You can see steam coming out of their cups. And they seem to be having like a very pleasant but hushed conversation. There is an individual that is reading a book over in one of the so in this establishment, this is like polar opposite of the Lucky Tankard. Lucky Tankard is like wooden tables, wooden stools, drunkards passed out over near the doorway. The Wizard and Wand is much more like coffee bistro in New York City. Like it's very cozy. Like there's always a fire going. There's like big plush, like sitting, like a sitting area, almost like Cassivus's den over by the fireplace. It's much like nicer and more, and it's clearly more of in like an affluent area. So there's an individual that's over by that particular, like by the hearth, who's looks to be reading some sort of book and drinking what can you very quickly identify as some sort of tea.
Gotcha. Well, those three seem to be occupied with something else. So, I'm gonna ask Shara if insert owner's name is here and available. Because Ty still doesn't know the name of the owner.
Hold on. I actually have to see because I think I have an owner's name. Give me a second because I actually forgot that. I actually forgot all about the Wizard and Wands. Let me pull up my notes real quick. I just got to open this one file.
I'm gonna double check if you gave me a name. I don't think you ever did.
I don't think that I did. Oh, there it is. I was like, I know it's in my notes. Oh my gosh, that's not cool. Past Neon, why did you do this?
Uh-oh.
I wrote a race, but I didn't write a name.
Well,
Please hold.
The name is Bob.
So
I'd
Shara
be down
goes.
for Fantasy Bob.
So Shara goes. I'm sorry. Say the. Who are you looking for again? You said the owner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Well, I would refer to them by name, but
Yes. Oh,
you
well,
know, Ty doesn't know name.
Bobathan is not in today. He is in fact out. He is running errands, but will be back this evening.
Thanks, I hate it.
It's now canon. Bobathan is now.
I helped.
You did help. You absolutely helped.
We're seriously going with Bobathan.
Absolutely, we're going with Bobathan. Of course.
Common spelling, I presume.
Yes, exactly. Yes, common spelling.
What? Wait. Common spelling of Bobathan.
Yeah, it's like marathon, but Bob.
Well, no, like Jonathan, like.
Oh, there you
Do
go.
you know how many different ways?
Okay.
Common
Bobathan. Bobathan.
H-A-N. Okay. Gotcha. All right. I don't suppose you know of a financial establishment in town, like somewhere.
She looks at you with a kind of a raised eyebrow.
One would keep their valuables if one wanted it more secure than their home.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I'm surprised you're not familiar with it. But there's one not too far from here. It's down in, it's just south of here in Hazel Hill. It's actually one of the oldest establishments in the city. It's the Iron Root Ledger Hold.
Iron Root.
Yeah, Iron Root, all one word, and then Ledger Hold, all one word.
Excellent.
It's actually, people say, I don't know how true it is, but some people say that it's one of the last surviving functional buildings of the ancient city of Old Darun.
Interesting.
Lies.
Just from the ether, there's just a tiefling scream, lies! They're lying to you, lies!
A small portal just appears. My face,
Yeah.
face comes through it. Lies, and then it disappears.
Yes, I love it.
I'm go to my room, grab my bag, and head out after finishing the meal.
So she gives you some loose directions on how to get there. And basically, like I said, it is directly south of you. And you can now see a little icon on your map, so you know where it is.
Hey, look. There it is.
Yep.
It's the Iron Ledger Hold.
Yep. And so you don't have to go very far. It's maybe a 15-minute walk from the Wizard and Wand through the rest of University Row and then up the hill into Hazel Hill, which as Talina would know and Grigor would know since Grigor is here. It is as you get more south away from the river is where the city starts to get older and older. Because it is built on a hillside that gets higher and higher. The old city, obviously where the elevation is lower is where, and then was like piled up with dirt and everything, got covered up. But the new city, the new city of Darun maintains some of its older elements the higher up the hill you go. And so Hazel Hill and Depitas Village and Upper Kestrel still have remnants left over from the old city. So as you get into Hazel Hill, the architecture continues to kind of shift and change a little bit and showing a little bit more age and a little bit more history here. But also very nice and affluent. And you notice that there's very few, like you don't see any signs of like low hoods lingering in spots like you do in Riverside. This is very much like a nice part of town and is more, not so much mansions like over in Amber Point, but larger domiciles can be seen here and very like cute, quaint little shops and such.
Well, I'm taking some mental note of shops as I walk to where I have been instructed, and I head in to this ledger hold place that I presume has some sort of signage outside.
Yes. So actually, not only does it have signage, it actually doesn't match the architecture of any of the surrounding buildings. It actually looks like, from the outside, it looks almost like a stone carved fortress, but also beautiful in its own right. It doesn't look militarized, but it definitely looks like it would be real tough to get in there if they don't want you to get in. The outside texture of the building actually looks more natural. It doesn't look like stone. It actually looks like petrified wood on the outside. It just has a different texture to it. But as you come up, it's got these very large, ornate doors, double doors, that as you walk through, that are very, very tall. These doors are probably about 15 feet tall. And you step in, and you're inside of a large, marbled, floored rotunda that has a large dome roof to it. And there's no natural light coming into this building from any direction. All of the light that is inside this room, you can see, is either from some sort of hidden but soft lit glow of some kind, maybe some sort of lighting source, or you see various glyphs that are carved around the inside of this large dome that's above you that are just softly glowing, and it provides this very calming, soothing, natural, arcane light inside this space. In the center of the room, but also a little bit more back, you see a semicircle, large oaken wooden desk with from this angle, you can't really see anyone sitting there, but as you start to take a couple steps closer, you see a large set of pointed ears coming up from above the desk.
I walk up to the desk and, in the most chipper tone that current I cannot do, I go, "Morning."
And as you say that, the ears like flicker and point, and as it stands up, you notice that there is actually what you first thought looked like goblin ears actually is a kobold that just stood up and looks at you. And this kobold turns; it has on these little spectacles that are sitting on its face, and it looks like they're very precariously perched there. That the kobold, unlike most kobolds that you've seen, especially the ones that you've run into thus far that have more reddish hewn skin, this one actually has a more greenish hewn skin, and is wearing a nice vested suit that seems to fit pretty well. It looks like it's tailored for this individual. It looks at you, and you see behind the spectacles, the eyes look bigger than they are, and they blink a couple times and goes, "Oh, hello." And it kind of trundles over to that side of the desk and stands there. "Welcome to Ironroot Ledgerhold. How may I help you?"
I'm here to open an account on behalf of somebody else.
He kind of raises an eyebrow.
Scrindle no understand. You wish to open account, but not for you.
Yes, a friend of mine. I have some valuables of theirs, but they've, how do I say this? They're currently unable to be here, and I want to make sure that their stuff stays safe.
He still looks a little confused, but he slowly nods a few times.
Okay. All right. So we open account for you, and you hold belongings for friend. Yes.
Sure, yes, that works.
Okay. Moment, please.
And he kind of stands up, and he does that little, like, I call it the chicken walk, where they have their legs kind of go back and forward as he kind of trundles off out of the room for a bit. And his little claws clattering on the marble floor echo through the room and go tick, 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 tick. And you're left alone in the room for a moment, and as you glance up and admire the room around you, you actually see in the middle of the rotunda, high up there, is this big floating brass bell. And as he wanders out, after a moment or two, you hear it, and it actually, I have a bell. There we go. And it just one solid chime. And as that happens, the lights in the room change, and you hear the sound of shuffling and movement in various chambers behind the desk and in other rooms. And then it all goes quiet again. And then at that time, then the little kobold comes out, and he's got like a little stack of papers and a little book and a quill and a inkwell, and he comes over to the desk and he plops up on top of a little box. So now he's about eye level with you, and he sets all the things on top of the desk, and he starts shuffling things around. And says,
Okay. You put name here,
and he points and he slides a paper over to you, and it's basically a contract. And he starts kind of like explaining to you the contract of how this works. And as he's doing so, he's basically explaining to you the policies and procedures for the Iron Root Ledger Hold and how it will work to have things in here. And you start to notice as you're reading through these that the way that this works is you're not given any sort of key, you're not given any sort of code or passphrase or anything, but that all the vaults here are actually locked to your very soul. That's your soul, your presence in front of a vault or a deposit box of some kind or whatever will actually unlock it, and that without you physically being there, it will not open, but will also open if someone can somehow bring your spirit here. Even if you're deceased, your soul, your spirit can still unlock your vault. And he kind of shuffles all the things out and waits for you to like sign papers and stuff.
Yeah, that paperwork gets signed real quickly, and she just reads in astonishment of like how neat, how, huh?
Yeah, it's and he looks like, so the little kobold just looks. He's just sitting there. He's like tapping the ends of his fingers together, and you can hear the little click 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 of his little claws. And he doesn't look like impatient, but like this is totally normal to him. So he's just like sitting there and waiting to go to the next step.
Yep, I read and sign
Okay.
as quickly as my elf eyes can take me.
As they start to get signed and he pulls them over, he kind of flips through them a little bit, adjusts his spectacles and says,
This good. Okay.
grabs them, and he takes the ledger he was holding, and he looks at your contract and he copies your name down.
Nah.
And he looks at you and says,
Nice to meet you.
and then goes back to writing. And then you see him double check everything.
This good.
And he closes the book with the papers inside of it and sets it down on his desk. And says,
Do you have deposit?
Yes, I
Good.
do.
Come.
As I tap my backpack.
and then he hops down.
Very good. Come.
And he starts leading you over to the left of the desk from where you're at towards a large stone archway with a little bit of light coming from it, but it looks a little bit darker, so you can very clearly some sort of tunnel over there.
Mm-hmm.
And as he... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I follow.
Okay, perfect. As he continues to kind of walk you through this tunnel, he's moving kind of quick for his short little stature, but for you, it's kind of a nice leisurely pace. It's not like you're running or anything. It's just kind of a nice, slow walk. And as you're walking through these halls, you can see all these paintings. I'm sorry. I have to get out of modern day speak. All these paintings that are on the walls of this hallway that are illuminated by soft torchlight. But the torches are actually floating on the walls. They're not they're not put into sconces or anything. They're actually just free floating with some sort of arcane power. And you start to kind of pick up on some of the names and some of the faces and whatnot is in here. And you notice that there's actually some sort of familial connection here. And various names that are underneath these paintings start to have a common theme to them. And you see that the first one you see has the name Matron Vritzkek underneath it, which is Vritzk. I'm going to mispronounce it a couple times. And then the next one, you see a name that says Rizabank Vritzk. And then you see Grun Vritzk. And basically you see all these names of all of these paintings of the different family members of the clan Vritzk that is kind of overseeing this. And you kind of watch this story unfold as you walk through this hall that curls around. And as you notice that it's curling, you're actually going down. And slowly but surely you end up beneath the main rotunda you were in and find yourself in this large circular space that has all these offshoots that go off of it. And he takes you down one of those offshoots and you go down again and then down again. And it takes a bit of time before you find yourself what is 3, 4, 5 layers down beneath the main rotunda. And you are in a sort of another circular space, but this one is clearly, there's vaults that are all around you. And each vault is a large iron door that is circular. And he walks up to one, and he kind of just motions for you to stand in front of it with a big, doofy kobold smile.
I do as I'm told.
And as you step right in front of it, you notice that there's actually a tile on the floor in front of each one of these doors, and the tile has a unique symbol on it that has like this very I don't want to say ornate, but kind of artistically kind of an artistic rendering of the letter V in kind of a unique way. And as you step on that V, the door you actually hear start to and you hear it inside, all the mechanisms moving, and you see the front handle start to move as well. And then after a couple seconds, you hear and it starts to move inwards. And as the vault moves in, you see that there's a cylindrical-like space that moves back about 20, I'd say about 30 feet, and it's about 10 feet wide by about 15 feet tall. And it's just basically this long cylindrical space. But inside that are all of these empty shelves, and they go from floor to ceiling on both sides, and they're about, they're pretty large shelves. And then there's obviously like some space in the back, and basically just plenty of space to store things in here. And the kobold basically just kind of politely waits out front, and it looks as expectantly for you to go on in.
Yeah, I go in hesitantly. As my second foot goes through the door, I like immediately turn to see if the door is like auto closing behind me or something.
No,
like
the door stays closed. But
Open.
but the I'm sorry, stays open. But the kobold looks at you, and he kind of looks at the door and looks back at you and says,
Oh, too close.
and he points down, and you see in the very middle of the vault, kind of about 5 feet ahead of you, is another one of those V's that's embedded into the floor, and he just points at it.
I take a step backwards into the square.
And as you do, the door starts to close.
Neat. And like just before it closes, I just yell out, "How open?"
Step on V.
And as you step back onto it, the door opens again, and it's very clear
Yeah,
that
I don't, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
just a.
yep.
All right. I'm gonna have to, out of character. I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm gonna split my inventory so that I have vault stuff and me stuff. But that's a future problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna stash some items away.
Okay.
And then head back out and up.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you store everything that you want to store in here, and the kobold brings you back up to. Did you catch his name, by the way? Because he announced his name a few times. Or I think he said it twice.
No, I didn't.
Okay. So as he brings you back up to the main rotunda and the main office.
Any questions?
Can I bring friends down?
He raises an eyebrow.
Friends, why?
Their stuff.
Oh.
In vault.
Oh, yes, vault yours. You do what wish.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure there wasn't any kind of security that meant it didn't open unless I'm the only
No.
person.
Vault only open for you and no one else. Only the matron.
And he points over to the painting you can kind of see in the hall that you just came out of. And the paintings, all of these paintings, by the way, I forgot to mention, I apologize on this. All of the paintings of the different individuals were goblins, actually. They were not kobolds. They were all various goblins of age and look and everything. And the matron that he just pointed to is a much older looking female goblin. She has gray hair. She has kind of a pleasant looking face, despite the fact that these are in fact goblins with long spindly noses and very long pointy ears with hair coming out of them and such. But she's wearing a very nice like dress, and she looks very professional. She's posed in a very nice authoritative look, and she has that look of determination and ownership in her eye as she has her painting done.
Only matron may open vaults if you are not here.
Interesting. Does she come here often?
I don't. Scrindle does not know.
And he looks a little ashamed that he that he had that as an answer.
That's okay. Well, thank you.
And
And have a lovely day.
He bows.
And she flicks a silver coin at him.
So you flick the coin at the kobold, and he's like part of the way into like a very pleasant little bow where his head goes all the way down, and he does like the little arm flicker thing. And so he sees it and he does this thing where he tries to go for it, and he does that thing where he can't catch it in one hand, so it's like bouncing between both hands, and then finally he grabs it in both hands and looks at it and he goes,
Scrindle, thanks.
and he bows, and he's holding up his hands like, thank you.
Excellent. And I head out to find some form of shop of magical trinkets and stuff.
Okay, cool. So as you exit the shop, we're going to go ahead and pan over, and we're actually going to pan over to the Lucky Tankard. And Hold on. Okay. So, Grigor, you have just finished up well, actually, back up. It's morning. Glimmer's Cure Emporium hasn't opened yet. You know that the shop opens a little bit later because of the owner's age. And so to start your day off, you have you're in and around the Lucky Tankard as it's shifting from its night operations to its morning operations. And as you're standing in the shop, or standing in the tavern, I should say, one of the tavern girls is just starting her shift coming from upstairs. And Melon, can you please introduce your new character and explain? And well, not introduce, but can you please describe your new character to the group?
I definitely can.
Cool.
Hello, everybody. I'm here now.
Also, please excuse the stream where it says Basil and has a Basil picture. We both realized right before stream that we didn't fix that. We being me, and the other half being I didn't have the Hero Forge images. So that is my bad.
It's in progress.
Yep. But I can fix one thing. But yeah, go ahead and describe your character.
All right. So this individual is going to be a female with short black hair, medium kind of regular height, 5'5". She's very thinly, at barely over 100 pounds, very porcelain white skin, and looking around her middle 20s in age. Her eyes, though, are a bit of a shock if you take the time to look, as they are a nice ruby red color of iris.
Cool. So as this female individual comes into the tavern, I won't say your name yet, so I'll just refer to the character as Melon for the time being. But Melon, your character would have just started the shift, and Stoutbeard is back behind the bar, prepping for his day. He prefers the day shift, and is cleaning some of the tankards and looks up and says,
Oh, aye, lassie, it's good to see you. Are you doing the day shift today?
Oh, of course.
Oh, that's good, that's good. If you don't mind helping that patron just walked in.
and he points over, and you see Grigor has just stepped in. And Grigor, you see this happen in front. You see this young woman in front of you.
Oh, why, hello there.
Hello.
How can I help you today?
Just whoever's on the breakfast menu.
Of course, of course. Can I help you find a seat?
Sure.
And to clarify, Grigor, you've been in and out of the Lucky Tankard a couple times at this point, and this is a little bit different in that normally you just kind of walk in and plop down somewhere, but now that someone's actually like being a hostess, it's almost a little off-putting of like, what's going on? But yeah, so you're able to sorry, I'm multitasking here. So she's able to help you find a seat and bring, as far as what options there are on the menu, there'd be your traditional like eggs and bacon and potatoes, and then for as far as drinks, it's a tavern. So the closest thing that most people in this part of the town are going to drink with breakfast is going to be one of those hill ciders, which is kind of that apple-y sort of cider vibe.
I'll have eggs and bacon and water.
Of course, I'll get that right away for you. And
And
she'll wander back towards the kitchen and counter.
And Stoutbeard sees that happen, gives you a nod, and lets you go about your business. I would say after a short bit, you're able to get the food ready. And as you're coming out to bring the food to Grigor, Grigor, you see Spitwick enter the tavern, and he looks a little tired, and he's kind of wandering in, and he starts to walk towards you, Grigor, and as he sees you and starts to make his way towards you, but then his eyes catch the young woman, and Melon, you see Spitwick glancing at you, and suddenly his eyes go wide, and he stops dead in his tracks.
And my character just gives a nice gentle smile, but continues with what work she was provided with.
Okay.
Making sure that Spitwick knows she has seen him.
Okay. Spitwick does see her, blinks a couple times, and then without breaking eye contact, shifts his body a bit to walk towards Grigor's table, and then after a moment breaks contact and looks at Grigor and flops up into one of the seats.
When did she start here?
Would Grigor know that?
You would know that you have not seen her here before, and you were here 2 days ago.
Probably like sometime in the last day, I guess. I haven't seen her, and I was here 2 days ago.
He looks a little uneased, but just kind of nods a few times.
Okay, good to know.
He kind of like taps his fingers together. I'll be right back. And he hops down and then and he scurries away. So while food is being prepared and passed around here in the tavern, Dax, you have been very successful in helping the fishermen of this particular boat. Can you roll me a strength check though, real quick?
Yes. It's just a d20, right?
Yes, but actually also add a d4 to that you can roll as well.
And then do you just want me to add them together?
Yes, the d20 plus the d4.
Yeah. $21.
Okay. You were very successful in helping them bring in a lot of fish, so much so that they became very cheery with you, very chummy with you. They were making jokes with you. They started to, like, very quickly you went from like, who is this person randomly sleeping on our ship, to we like having you here and we would love to have you around. And it's about that this time that they're actually they got so much fish in such a quick amount of time thanks to your help, instead of them getting out of the net, that they're actually on their way back to the dock, and they're actually just now docking. And you would be docking not far from the Lucky Tank. You actually can see the Lucky Tankard as the ship is pulling in. And you actually, roll me a perception check real quick, actually.
$10.
With a 10, you just, as soon as the ship starts to get docked here on the wharf, and you're like, kind of reacting to some sort of comment one of them made, you glance up and you just catch the tail sight of Spitwick rounding a corner, headed like in the general direction of what you know is Cassivus's place, like walking away from you. But you kind of see that happen.
She's not really gonna think anything of it, just because she doesn't know what's going on. She just thinks it might be just Spitwick kind of just out and about. So she's going to see if the fishermen need any more help before departing from them.
Okay. As you offer your assistance, or you go to offer your assistance, you notice that now that they're at the dock and they've got them out of the water, these three become a well-oiled machine and are working in some sort of fashion where the three of them are very quickly getting all the fish prepped to be sold. And you actually see a couple of gentlemen walking up the dock towards them with some clipboards in their hand, presumably to organize purchase of the fish.
With that being the case, she's just kind of gonna call Scorch and depart, and she's gonna slowly start making her way towards the armorer that she got her leather chest piece from.
Okay, all right, that's not far down the dock, so you start making your way there. And as you do, Tip, you exploring the city, come around a corner and see Dax and Scorch getting off the boat in front of you and making their way up the dock, kind of in your direction. And Dax, you see this rather large squirrel bound around the corner of one of these buildings.
Okay. She's going to kind of like cock her head sideways, kind of like just out of curiosity, and then she's not gonna yell out, but she's gonna try and get their attention, be like, "You, yeah, you over here," because she doesn't remember the squirrel's name.
Sure.
So she's gonna try and get its attention and basically motion the squirrel to come over.
The squirrel's gonna look around for a minute, trying to figure out who the fuck is this person yelling at. Like, wait, who? Me? You even see the paw point to itself. Like, me?
So, and she would nod.
Tip's gonna just, bound over.
Yeah, I mean, you're able to bound over to Dax on the edge of the dock, and like I said, Scorch is there too. And Scorch kind of starts to lean down and kind of look at you and sniff a couple times, and then after the sense of familiarity hits him, he perks up a little bit and just starts panting and looking at you.
So now that she's kind of over here, Dax is gonna be like, so, because she doesn't really know what this is. Dax is sometimes a very awkward individual, so she's just gonna be kind of like, tell me more about yourself. What the fuck are you?
Hold on, why did I blank on my own fucking creatures and species?
Hold on, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I had my mic away because I was writing something down, but I forgot what my own species was. Hold on.
Do you need
Is
some
it going to
help?
be the same species? Was it the same species that was listed on the sheet, or is whatever?
It is listed. It is listed on your sheet.
earlier.
It is listed on her sheet. If she goes, so if you open your character sheet on the right side underneath humanoid, it'll tell you what race you are.
Under Herbonoid. A Ratatosk. Okay.
Yeah, a Kore
That's
or
the-
Ratatosk. It's kind of they're kind of the same thing.
The Ratatosk is just its major.
Yeah.
Major thing, whatever you want to call that.
Mm-hmm.
Tiff's gonna be just like, well, starters, I'm a Ratatosk. Clearly not from this, well, plane, as you guys would call it.
She nods at that and is kind of like, yeah, clearly. But she also kind of responds back, but then again, neither am I.
Tip gives a pause and kind of explaining what she is, debating on whether to say a specific thing about what she is. So she goes over and she talks about her home a little bit, which is basically a giant tree.
Okay.
She seems to just ramble on about her kind, which is she speaks so fast at times that it's hard to understand what she says.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I just imagining Hammy having caffeine from over the hedge?
Kind of. She
Maybe
is
not
kind
that
of like that right
aggressive.
now. Like you could understand, but she's speaking so fast that way her words are getting jumbled in her head.
Uh-huh.
Like there is a point where, if paid attention to quickly when she's speaking very quickly, the word celestial will pop in.
And with that, Dax immediately switches the language that she's talking to, Tippy in and immediately just smooth as butter starts talking in Celestial.
Which you definitely will notice Tippy switching into her celestial speech.
I forgot that Dax spoke Celestial. I love that.
She speaks Primordial, Celestial,
Mm-hmm.
Infernal, Common, and then Thieves can't.
Yep.
A demon speaking celestial is kind of is definitely a thing.
It's a thing. Welcome to D&D. It's a thing. Cool. So yeah, you start basically the two of you kind of find yourself kind of wandering and talking at the same time as Dax is more leading the walk, as you two kind of share a pleasant conversation, both of you very surprised that the other speaks Celestial. And as you pass some of the townsfolk, some of them give you some strange looks because Celestial obviously does not sound like common and is not something that is ever commonly spoke in or around Darun.
Remember, Neon. Tip speaks telepathically.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. So even more weird is that the squirrel was just walking and occasionally looking at you, and Dax, you're verbally talking back, and you're having this one-sided conversation as you're walking around. People just see you talking to a squirrel and the squirrel looking at you. Of course, the squirrel is massive. But it doesn't take you very long before you get back to the armor that you had gotten your leather armor from before, which, if I recall correctly... Hold on. I have to make sure I have the right thing here.
It's the same one that also crafted the
Yes.
daggers.
Yep. I just have to make sure I have to remember I have the... I'm pretty sure it was Durin's Forge. If I recall correctly.
Heck, I don't have my obsidian notes up, so I couldn't tell you.
Nope, it's all good. Let me double check the session notes.
But speaking of those daggers, guess what Dax still has?
Yep.
Very sharp tools.
Why do I not take better notes? I mean, I do now. I didn't then, but I do now. I'm pretty sure it was Durin's Forge. Pretty sure it was Durin's Forge.
It was. I'm looking at my notes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you do find the armor of Durin's Forge, which is on the east side of the dock, closer to where you know Basil's hotel room was when he had taken you there for a rest. And yeah, and I mean it's the same place that you find. It's this kind of smaller, more quaint forge with a a stout a dwarf of working the oh my gosh, what's it called? It's not, it is the forge, but there's another word for it. The bellows, working the bellows outside, and heating his forge up for the day.
She's gonna walk in and kind of just try and look around, but also kind of noticeably while she's talking to Tippy.
Mm-hmm.
Because she wants to she wants him to make something for her.
Okay, so you go over and get his attention. Okay, so as you kind of round the side where you can see him, but you aren't gonna round the side, and there he is, and Doran is Borin is out working the bellows, and he's having to kind of jump up kind of high to pull the top bellow down on the other one. But he seems to have this kind of rhythm to it where he's like almost like getting in his exercise, but he has a good cadence to his motion. And it takes you a couple of seconds of kind of like standing there waving your hand before he finally sees you and goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," and finishes it out. Slaps his hands together. So, "What can I do for you then, huh?" "Oh, I remember you, you wee lass. I made your friend them daggers, and I got you some armor. That a couple days ago, right?"
She nods, and yeah, that was us.
Very good. Very good.
Now I'm hoping that you I'm hoping you might be able to complete a task for me.
Well, I suppose I'll give it a wee try. What can I do for you then, huh?
And as he says this, he kind of glances down and he sees Tip. Tip, what are you doing as this conversation's happening?
Looking around for something specific.
Okay, but just kind of like just standing there and moving and like looking around.
Yeah, for now.
Okay. As you're doing that, he looks at.
I don't recall that being here last time. Did you get a new pet?
Dax would nod and just be like, "It's a long story. Don't question it."
All right, I won't then.
All right. Well, what is it that you needed me to make? And then, I want while this conversation's happening, Fox DM me what you're having Tip look for.
That'll be a weird request.
So Dax is gonna be like, I was hoping you could make some armor for this fella, my little buddy right here, and she kind of points her head at Scorch, who's right next to her.
He kind of leans around. He goes, "Oh, hello there," and he walks over, and he doesn't have to bend very far, and he reaches out slowly to try to pet Scorch. At this point, I'll let you decide what Scorch does.
The Scorch would kind of like take a step back for a second,
Mhm.
as he's like sniffing, and then seeing that Dax is kind of, and communicating with this individual and isn't seeming hostile, he relaxes and starts to lick the guy's hand.
Oh, you're a sweet thing, ain't ya? And moves from the licking and starts petting Scorch's head, like with very kind of aggressive but lovable kind of head ruffle.
He's gonna lean into that. He's gonna lean into the head scratches. And as Scorch is doing this, Dax kind of looks at the guy. Yeah. I sort of rescued him from the Lowhoods.
He raises an rescued, and he kind of leans in. You sure that's the word you wish to use, huh?
That's the word we're gonna go with, is what she says.
Fair enough. I hate those wee buggers.
Sure. So you want some armor for him, you said?
Yes, please. I'm training him to be an attack dog of sorts.
Oh, and he kind of looks down at Scorch. Are you going to be the big baddie, huh? And kind of gives him a grin and a smirk.
Scorch would kind of bark back in response.
I like it. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to take some measurements to try to make sure I get the right size for things. Can you have him hold still for me?
I can try, but he's a dog. He
No,
kind
I
of does his
understand.
own thing.
I got it. I just need to make sure he's as immobile as we can make him for the time being, so I can get accurate measurements. All right.
Okay.
So what I want you to
What do you need to measure? Like what parts of his body in
Well,
particular?
I'd like to measure his back and his torso to try to make sure I can cover all the vital parts in there. Do you want him to have any sort of head armor?
Not necessary.
Okay, then I just need to measure his torso, then make sure I get the right length and the width and whatnot.
Maybe some like something for his legs though too would be beneficial.
Oh, I suppose we could make some.
Oh my gosh, Neon, what's the word?
Booties?
No, not bracers. Bracers are for your
I said
arms.
booties.
No, I know, not boot. I know. I'm trying to think of what is the word of armor you put on your shins?
Shin guards.
No.
Greaves.
Thank you, greaves. That's
Greaves,
what I.
yeah.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for.
My brain went pauldrons. Like, no, that's the other
Nope,
bit.
that's shoulder. Pauldrons are shoulders.
Pauldrons are
Bracers are
shoulders.
arms. Greaves are shins. So yes, thank you. Yeah. So
I suppose
Yeah.
we could make him some wee little greaves and keep his legs protected. But I'll be right back. I'm gonna get some my measuring tape, and I'll be right back.
and as he turns around, he sees Tip, and Tip is elbow deep into this large burlap half full sack of sand, scooping sand out and putting it into smaller burlap sacks. And Borden turns around and says, "What are you doing then, lass?" And just stops staring at you.
So the burlap subs have like a rope, right?
Like to cinch him shut?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so the big one has an undone one that you can easily see sand inside of it that's used for some sort of glass work. And then there's like a lot of little smaller sacks that are just kind of tossed in a little pile near the forge. And a few of them have like rope intertwined into the lip of it so that you can cinch it shut, kind of like a coin purse.
I'm gonna take one of the ones that I was starting to fill. I'm gonna try to cinch it closed, put it over my body to some. I'm trying to picture how the fuck a squirrel's gonna put a burlap sack over their shoulder like a bag.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like you're just chucking it over your shoulder like a hobo. Like, here we go. Like,
and she's going to essentially just disappear.
So as you look at him and he looks at you, and there's that awkward eye blink moment, you just toss the bag over your shoulder and good lord, what? And he turns to Dax. What are you doing? What's going on? What's happening?
Dax kind of just shrugs her shoulders. I don't know. I don't even know what entirely what the fuck that thing is.
But oh, well, at least it was just sand.
All right. And he starts to walk in the direction of his measuring tape, which is kind of in the direction that you were, but he stops where you were standing, and he does this really wide crab walk circle around the space you just vanished from until he gets all the way around, never breaking eye contact with the space that you were just standing in. And then he walks over to his forge, and he gets into a bunch of his tools and grabs this roll, kind of like about 4-inch round roll of something, and he does this another crab walk back around over to Dax.
All right, that was weird. All right, well, go ahead and hold the wee guy still, and I'll go ahead and try to measure him.
Don't worry. I've got him. I'll distract him with some food. And as she says that, she kneels down in front of Scorch and puts some food in her hand for him to kind of eat.
Roll me an animal handling check, please.
Okay. 20. 19.
Okay, yeah, you're able to hold him still. And as you hold him still, Borin comes over and he measures him from basically neck to kind of lower extremities. He does the same thing on the back, the side, kind of does a circumference measurement, measures the length of his legs, the circumference of his legs. And every so often he's taking these and writing down a little clipboard he has sitting nearby. And does this for a couple of moments until he feels like he's got everything he needs and stands up and says, all right, that should about do it. What are you wanting this armor to be made of then? Are you wanting it to be made of leather, iron, mithril? What are you looking to have it made of?
Dax kind of thinks for a moment. I don't know. What would you recommend for something that's, light but also pretty sturdy?
Sure. Well, quite honestly, for a dog, you're probably gonna want something pretty lightweight, which is gonna be like chainmail, maybe a chainmail and leather combination. I wouldn't go anything heavier, to be honest. It's going to weigh him down. It might make it difficult for him to even breathe correctly, and that's not something you're gonna want. It's gonna make him miserable.
She nods. Yeah. Why don't we something light and sturdy for him, but also I don't want him to overheat. So.
Of course, chainmail's breathable. It's metal, so it's still heavy.
Yeah, let's go with that then.
All right, so leather and chainmail it is. Okay, so that's gonna take me. It's not very big, so it'll probably take me. Let's see here, and he does like some calculations on his clipboard. That's gonna take me about 4 days to make. And then you'll want to bring him in. We'll want to fit it and make sure it fits correctly, and I may need to tweak it a little bit depending on, how it all comes out.
She nods. Okay. Do you want payment after or up front?
Well, you have been a customer before, but I still require a down payment. So instead of the half up front, half after, I'll tell you what. If you will pay me, let's see, the total cost is going to run you probably about... Hold on while Neon makes sure he gets a suitable price. Well, this is probably going to run you about 100 gold to have this manufactured because it's customized. So if you'll put down 20 gold as a 20% down payment, we'll call it square until you are come back to collect it and pay me the remaining 80.
She nods and she said, that sounds reasonably fair. And so she goes ahead and she reaches into her jacket where she kind of keeps like her immediate coinage on hand, the coinage that she's gonna like
Yes,
use
yeah.
immediately, and pulls out 20 pieces of gold for him.
Okay. And he takes it and nods. Thank you, lass. All right, I'll get started on this right away. Come back here in about 4 days' time, and we'll give it a wee fitting, all right?
Sounds good.
Perfect. All right, and he gives the scruffle to Scorch's head. All right, you be a good boy until then. And I don't know what the hell that was, but as long as it doesn't take anything more than sand, we'll call it square.
Yeah, I really don't know either.
All right. Well, have a good one. And he, you see him take his clipboard and he starts going into like the shop portion of the establishment, and you can hear sounds of him going through things, looking for ingredients and supplies and such. While that is happening, we're going to pan back over to the Lucky Tankard. So, Melon, your character has been successfully able to serve Grigor breakfast. At this point, a few other patrons have kind of wandered in. The one drunkard over by the other door has woken up and wandered home. And the day is kind of starting to kind of come to fruition as some of the fishermen coming in from whoever would have been fishing at night is coming in for breakfast. And then any of the fishermen that are going out to start their day are coming in for their breakfast. So they're starting to get that crossover between both groups. Would your character be doing anything outside of the ordinary of just doing her job?
While doing the job, she is providing, the almost over the top service with a smile of like a little bit of flair twirls, a little bit of how do you do's and all the fancifulness, like yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and
But she's also keeping her eyes open for her friend that just left earlier.
Yep. And so with what's going on, Grigor, you're able to kind of watch this happen quietly from a distance. But you see that she is a consummate professional of a tavern girl, essentially. She is bounding between patrons and is very pleasant to communicate with. And you notice that the patrons kind of are a little bit more enjoyable around her. Like they kind of their mood kind of picks up a little bit in various capacities. And this goes on for a little while until you notice that Grigor, you notice that Spitwick with Cassivus in tow step into the door frame of one of those large open breezeways that dump out onto the boardwalk of this wharf, essentially. And Spitwick just kind of stands at Cassivus's side, and Cassivus stands with his arms crossed, kind of surveying the room until he sees Melon sees your character over in the back and raises an eyebrow with a smirk as he sees you before you see him.
So at what point do I see him?
Shortly after. Like, it's not a long... It's
Okay.
just like when you see him, he's already looking at you is what it was more what I meant.
My character's slowly going to put down the rag she was wiping one of the countertops with and approach Cassivus and Spitwick.
Okay.
Seemingly in the sense of they are just new patrons, but with a almost deathly glare of, oh, you know what you have been doing.
So as she steps up to Cassivus, he doesn't flinch, he doesn't move, he doesn't seem to do anything other than just kind of stand there. Good to see you again. I did not know you were working here.
Oh, it's quite a new gig, I will tell you that.
And Spitwick kind of like interjects, that's in like the last 2 days. And Cassivus looks down, thank you, my friend. That'll be all. Fine. And he kind of looks between Cassivus and then to your character and kind of gives her a little bit of a, like, the eyebrows for like the kind of a little bit of a squint, but nothing like aggressive, just kind of a little bit of a squint, and then he just kind of turns and
before he turns and turns away and runs, my character's going to look down at him, give the gentle smile that almost feels more of a sinister way, and I don't know if Grigor would be in eyesight for this, but
He would be. Well, I mean,
Okay.
let me rephrase that. He can see all this going down, depending on what you're doing. Would
can
depend on if he can see it.
Grigor see my character's face?
Yeah, he can see, but he can't see. It's not like he's looking directly at you, but he can see enough of it.
Okay. Would he also have view of, I want to say it's on her right hand?
Yeah, he's on your right side.
Okay. If Grigor is so able to spot it, the ring upon her right hand would glow ever so faintly, and a weird glint would go over her eyes, almost as if the entire Scholara went red for a brief moment and then back over as she was staring at Spitwick.
And Grigor, I'll say, without rolling, you would have seen this. You would have, because you would have already noticed Spitwick and Cassivus enter. So seeing this, you would have watched all this just happen. And as that happens, Cassivus kind of gives a slight smirk, that almost is covering up another emotion, and just goes, "Now, let's not be rude or hasty. What seems to be the problem, my dear? Last I heard, we weren't under any sort of wasn't any animosity between us, and now all of a sudden there seems to be some bad blood. Whatever has happened?"
Oh, haven't you heard? There was a fire on the west side of town.
I do believe I heard
A
that.
tragedy.
Yes. What does that have to do with us?
She's giving a, oh, you know exactly what this has to do with you, very kind smirk and face, but also the hiding the obvious anger.
Roll me a persuasion check. I think would be the most suitable for this. That was a weird sound.
17.
Oh, that's why, because it was private. Okay, your roll is private, by the way.
Oh, shoot. Hang on.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I will reveal it, but I will set my rolls public.
Yeah, that's fine. 17. Okay. He kind of gives you a little bit of a squint and says, "Well, not every job is suitable for everyone, and sometimes there are time constraints. But do you feel that I have slighted you in some way, my dear? I don't believe there is any promises that were made that I can recall. If I forgot one, please correct me."
A deal I don't believe had been struck, but isn't it courtesy to respond to your information, seeker?
Oh, I see the dilemma. Oh, my dear, I am dreadfully sorry if there was a misunderstanding. I do believe you were compensated for your original contract. If you were wishing for more, I believe there's just a miscommunication, and I apologize for my lack of understanding. And he actually, kind of bows his head a little bit, but you've dealt with Cassivus before. He's being Cassivus.
And not trying to physically scoff at the action, she gives the, "Sir, if you are not requesting a table, I will have you exit the establishment or sit to the side. I have some tables to attend to."
Point of inspiration for the subtle waitress / hostess, get the F out of my establishment. That was beautiful.
That was freaking
That
beautiful.
was beautifully seamless from this subtle back and forth conversation to, "Sir, you need to leave." That was beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, heroic inspiration for Melon.
I haven't worked. I definitely haven't worked customer service for
Yeah,
my
I know,
entire
right?
career of life.
I was about to ask, have you worked hospitality before?
You seem
all
such
the
a
time.
natural.
Yeah, all the time.
Hospitality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was perfect. And as he kind of smirks back at you and nods, my apologies. I will come back at a less busy time. And as he glances, he sees Grigor, and he looks to you and kind of gives you a slight nod, and then glances from you to her, and then back to Grigor, and then departs and walks away.
Before he gets fully out the door, and as they're both turning away, my character's going to give the just do be in contact.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Just do be in contact.
Oh, and that was to Cassivus.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
As they both kind of walked away, and that's all that she really left him with.
You do see him give a nod as he walks away, but it's like a nod from the back because he's walking away.
Mm-hmm.
And Grigor, I will say, because of where you're sitting, you pretty much heard all of that. I'm not even going to make you roll for it. All right. Do the two of you do anything at this point?
My character would be continuing her shift
Okay.
throughout the actions.
Okay. Does Grigor do anything?
Once Grigor's finished his breakfast, he would leave 2 silver pieces under the plate and go and patrol around the Curio Emporium.
Okay. All right. So, you after a little bit, Melon, you find those coins under the plate as you're cleaning the table. And Grigor, you don't have to walk. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to ask, did my character witness Grigor stepping up, dropping what was on the table, and heading out?
Roll me a perception check. Let's see if you can notice through the crowd. What'd you get?
18.
What'd you get? Yeah, I'd say that even though you were busy doing something else, you've become very observant of the world around you, even when you're doing your job for many reasons. This has become an art form for you. So even though you were doing one other thing, you do notice Grigor stand up, put the money under the plate, glance the room, and leave.
If his glance meets my character's gaze as they are both like looking towards each other,
Mm-hmm.
a nice gentle smile and very customer service-esque, as she then takes a cloth and moves towards the table to clean it up.
Okay.
Which is a huge juxtaposition from what he had just witnessed in the doorframe.
Yeah, two very different attitudes for sure. Grigor, you see this and then make your way out of the tavern, and a block and a half over, and you're at Glimmer's Cure Emporium. And as you're getting there almost exactly at the same time that Elria is at the front door fiddling with her very large ring of big skeleton keys. When she finally grabs the right one, and her shaky little old hands is trying to get the key in the lock, and she misses a few times before she finally gets it in.
Oh, there we go. Stubborn little thing, takes too long to do these days.
And lets the door glide open, and she's,
oh, good to see you, dear. Are you here to work today?
Grigor would give a polite nod.
Very good, very good. I have not had very many problems as of late, but it's always good to have a good sturdy hand around. Would you please help me in with my things, dear?
And as she says it, she turns, and you can see that she's got two, for her size, large, but for you, small wooden crates stacked on top of each other right behind her of something that she's trying to bring into the shop.
Grigor would go to help her.
Okay. Yeah, and you're able to very, very easily lift these 2 boxes into the Emporium, and she asks that you set them down, behind her little counter, and she thanks you for setting them down, and begins her little morning routine of dressing her little shop up and such, but doesn't expect you or ask you to do anything further. I will say, though, as you are helping her, you do see her put down your pay on the counter of, I forget what I had to do. Do you remember do you remember what your pay was the first time? It's been a minute.
I do not.
Didn't think so. Okay, we're gonna do it this way because it's been a year. Like, it's legitimately been a year. So we're gonna do it this way. Okay, so she puts down 3 gold for your day's pay. All All right. So while you're kind of helping her get started, all that, Talina, you have left the Iron Root Ledger Hold and have begun your kind of journey around Hazel Hill. You said you were looking for something. What were you looking for?
I was looking for a store that features magical trinkets.
Ah, yes. Okay. So as you're kind of wandering around Hazel Hill, you notice that Hazel Hill doesn't have shops that cater to a lot of magical tendencies. It's kind of more linens and clothes, and there's a couple cobblers and some fine tailors. It's mostly like, luxury items, but nothing really of a magical nature. You do, however, remember that you did see one on your way from University Row to Hazel Hill, and as you make your way back on the outskirts of University Row, you do find a sign that says Whispering Wonders.
Excellent. We heading in.
Okay. As you head in, you find yourself in a kind of a simple little building with kind of a modest outer exterior. But as you step in, you get kind of this unpleasant waft of kind of a musky forest odor, kind of mixed with sort of a parchment smell, like the kind of just very earthen smell that just is filling the space. It's kind of a cramped space with a lot of bookshelves on all the sides, and there's a couple of like end tables here and there. There's a dusty display case that is kind of right in the middle of the room that has a various collection of enchanted objects and things each inside of them. And immediately with your, obviously you're not, without detecting magic or anything, you just already can tell that there is a arcane presence to this room. That a lot of these items seem to have a arcane kind of nature to them. But it's very cozy in here, especially for an elf. Even though you don't hail from the woods, you still kind of have a slight connection to familiarity in here. And at the back of the room, it's kind of a long, like thin, kind of what's kind of an elongated room. It's not a very wide room. It's a very like long room. At the back of the room, on a ladder that's putting some books onto a bookshelf up high, you see a rather tall, slender wood elf that is has one arm full of books and the other hand kind of putting them on the bookshelf.
As I'm surrounded by all this arcane energy, I realize something that I forgot to do on my way from I'm going to call it the bank because I forget the actual name, to the store.
Uh-huh.
And my lips turn purple and I whisper to myself
Mm-hmm.
and to Athwin.
Okay. We
And
can
I counted
we
these
can
words
retcon
out.
and say you did this on the walk, by the way.
Yeah, either way works. It's fine.
Okay. All right. So wait, is Fox still here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Just making sure.
Fox has the message. It's fine.
Okay.
Hey, Athwin, your shinies from the mission are safe. Hope you are safe. Let us know. You can respond by thinking words to me.
You can respond to this message.
Yeah.
I
Because
love
it's the
it.
first time I'm doing it, right? So
I
I want to
love it.
make sure Athwin does.
I love it. Okay, so technically, Fox, Othwin can respond with the 25-word response.
I had all this time and I still can't figure out what the fuck she would say.
Well, what would she?
Only because I don't know if Talina would be able to understand her.
I mean, she spoke
Communicated
common
in the
before,
past.
so
Barely. I mean, she's still learning the common language.
that's true.
You can speak broken common.
She's going to reply, safe with new friends. Or, no, more friends.
Yeah, that's the understatement of the year.
Excellent. Excellent.
Cool.
At least we know Athwin is safe. That's all she needed to know.
Yes, yeah, you very much are able to tell that Athwin is safe, and that she is alive and is able to respond.
So as I'm strolling around,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything in particular that pokes out to me? And I'm specifically looking at.
I assume you
things
talk about it in the
like-
shop. Like this is after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask. So, are you looking for anything in particular? Is Talina looking for a specific item?
Um.
Anything that she's or
Well,
items?
not not things specific, but like rings, necklaces, something that would help her uh her arcane prowess or be utilitarian.
Okay. Okay.
Perhaps, but this is a long stretch. Maybe some sort of uh garment of sorts that she can put either over or under her chain shirt or instead of her chain shirt if it's medium armor.
Okay. I mean, you do see a couple of you see a lot of various items in the room. You do see some rings. Um, you see a lot of potions. You see there's actually a pretty healthy amount of scrolls in here. You see basically one of the bookshelves is just full of the various scrolls that are all different styles and shapes and materials, but they're all bound in different sort of like leather or string or even like a strand of grass is like a or twine or something that's various elements kind of wrapping them. You do see a couple of pieces of like armor or like what could be seen as armor over on one side that are hung on some sort of like a hanger item. You do see a set of a set of crossed rapiers that are hung on the wall that look decorative, but then you realize very quickly no, these are actually for sale. Did any of those like catch her eye?
So not the consumables, but definitely the rapiers. Or do they look like they're a set, or they just
They are hung
defrost because that's how they look pretty?
Yeah, it looks like while they are hung as a set, they look like they are individual swords.
And at the back, the person running the show is on a ladder. You said, right?
Yes, yeah.
I don't want to disturb them, but I also don't have identify or any kind of spell in that regard. So I'm just going to look for a label or something that might indicate to me what these swords, how they magic do.
How they magic do. I love that.
My brain shut down.
I love that. Okay, so as you get up to the two that are hung on the wall, and they do look very similar to each other. There is a little placard underneath them, and it's just in a very nice elven script, and what looks like handwriting on a piece of parchment that's like inside of a wooden frame. It says a dancing sword.
Oh, I like those. Those are good. Ah, yes. Does it say in Elvish or just in like Elvish style handwriting? but in
Elvish style
common?
handwriting, but it is written in common.
Okay.
Yeah. No, this is very much a common is the general language city. So while there's many different races and cultures here, everyone kind of accepts that if you're going to do business, you probably need to be smooth, you jerk. You probably need to be speaking common.
Excellent. And you said there were rings or necklaces or something as well?
There are some rings. There's three different rings that seem to be kind of in that center glass case I said that was in the middle of the room. You see a couple scrolls that are crossed over each other. You see a couple of reliquaries that are sitting there with various designs on them, and you do see three rings that are sitting on a little plush little like pillow that's like a maroon color. And there's three sitting on there, and they each have a different like design to them.
Any writing?
There's no
nearby
writing
them,
in the
or are
case. No,
they-
they're just laid out on the pillow.
I'm gonna look up at the ladder and check if the person has noticed me just strolling through there.
As you're
establishment.
actually as you're glancing into the case and you kind of go, there's no name there. You kind of stand up, and as you kind of lean back up, you see she is standing across the case from you, and is holding a book, kind of like she's kind of holding it against her chest with her both hands, and says, hello, what can I help you with today? And she is she's a little bit taller than you, very thin, and very clearly a wood elf. Like, you know, obviously being a dark elf, an elf from the Underdark, or drow, excuse me, you kind of understand elven kind. This is very clearly a wood elf. She has a very soft, barely noticeably pastel pink hair that's more white, but like when the light catches it just right, you can see there's a little bit of a pink hue to it. Very, tall ears, the whole bit there. Unlike the young elf girl at the ledger hold, she has soft pastel like blue eyes, and very kind smile.
I immediately switched to Elvish.
Oh, okay.
Was kindred spirit and maybe earning some kudos. And I ask what these rings are and the price for the rapier and the rings.
And she responds to you in Elvish, says, we'll start with the rapiers. Those are dancing swords, dancing rapiers, and those are 2,030 gold apiece. If you wish for both, obviously, we could work out a deal. But yes, those are those. And then the rings, these are this here, and she points, and it's a beautiful gold ring that has a diamond-shaped setting on one side, and then inside of it is a amber orangish colored gemstone. This is a ring of fire resistance. This here is, and she points to another ring that is a silver banded ring with a red, with a circular inset on it with a red little gemstone in it. This is a ring of protection. And then this over here is, and it's a even simpler iron band with etching all around it, and kind of almost like a oh my gosh, not floral, like natural, like it looks like vines and leaves and stuff that's etched around it, and it has a kind of a wind look to it. It says, this is a ring of jumping.
And does she mention the price of the rings at all, given that I asked for them?
I heard the question for the price of the swords. I didn't hear for that one. Sorry. That is a DM mistake. That's a great question, and you're gonna need to give me a second because I've been trying to pull them up for 3 minutes and I can't find them. Because item prices, I swear, I have so many great tools for all the stuff I do for DMing. Item prices is my biggest issue. Because where is that one?
There's the sane item prices. PDF
That's what I'm trying to. I
sent
can't find my link for it. That's the thing. Like, I had it bookmarked somewhere. I thought I did. I've used it because you sent it to me a while ago, but
I sent it as a PDF, so it shouldn't be a link. It should be a file.
Oh, I remember now. Yes, that was a document. Give me a second. Okay, I could have been ahead of the game here on this because I have that document.
Oh, that's all right. If you can't find it, I can send it again.
Oh, no, I've got it. I forgot that it was I forgot that it wasn't a link, that it was a... All right, let me see if this is in here. Do.
Okay, huh? I'm gonna have to do some conversion math between all of my coinage.
Also, speaking of which, while we're having that, I figured out a solution for the vault, since this is a thing now. I made a player just called the Iron Root Ledger Hold Vault, and I added in the gold and the silver that you put in there, and the other items. If there's anything that you want to put in there, you can literally remove it from your inventory. I will have it in here, and then we can drag it back and forth. So that way there's literally like a player's inventory we can use for storing it.
Okay.
Bet.
Yep. And
Any
actually,
chance
what
I
I will
can have
do,
observer
I'm going to
key
give you,
to it
no,
so
I'm going
I
to give
know
you,
what's in there.
I'm going to give you ownership of it because as of right now, it is your vault.
Yep.
And then,
Well, it's always going to be my fault because it's locked to my soul, right?
it is. Yes, it is locked to your soul. Yes. All right. So you now have ownership of it. You should be able to see it in the actors tab.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, cool. So, okay. She quotes you on the Ring of Protection. She says she tells you it's 3,500. On, oh geez, let me go the other way. Oh my gosh, really? Oh, here they are. Ring of Jumping, she quotes you 2,500. And I think, what was the other one I said? I said Ring of... Ring of Protection. Oh, yeah, so that one. Ring of Jumping, Ring of Fire Resistance. That's right. How is this not in here? How dare you? Oh, all right, we'll just say it this way then. It is 6,000.
You disappoint me in your pricing. None of that is within my price range.
Sorry.
How
This
dare
is
you, Neon?
this is sane magic item prices? Jeez.
Apparently.
I might need to do some tweaking with it. This is a little high.
Yeah, that's sounding a little bit high.
Yeah, this is insane. This is considered sane item prices? All right.
Well, it could be, like, it depends on how high magic your world is, I guess.
That's true. Give me a second here. Let me look at...
You can always just take that book and decide, okay, magic is really common here, so we'll just take like 25% off all the
yeah, I
prices,
might
and
actually...
then-
What I think I might do is literally just
Yeah.
chop a 0 off of literally everything, because if I'm looking at these, like, if you chop a 0 off of them, they suddenly become kind of reasonable. So that's... You know what?
250, 350, 600?
Yes, actually, that's exactly what we're going to do. Give me a second here on the Ring of Fire Resistance. What you're going to have to help me here. What was the price on the Ring of Fire Resistance?
You said 6K.
So
I made it
600. Okay, all right. I'm just typing them in here so I have them for later. Ring of Protection was what?
350.
Okay.
And the jumping was 250.
Okay, cool.
And, and that's already divided by 10, obviously.
Yes, yeah. All right, so yeah, so she quotes you 600, 250, and 300, 350 for those, and the dancing swords she said 2,030 a piece.
I take the gems out of the little belt pouch that I have, and I ask her if she's interested in trading for these at all.
Her eyes kind of go, oh, those look beautiful. Do you mind if I appraise them real quickly?
Please do, and let me know.
Of course. And she very carefully, first she walks over to her little counter. She sets down her book. Huh, that's weird. Then she goes behind the counter and she brings out like a soft cloth, and she holds her hands out for you to put the gemstones inside of it.
I put one of each, so one ruby, one sapphire, one diamond, one emerald.
Okay. And she takes them back
They
behind
all
the counter.
Similar to me. I figured.
Sure.
If she knows one, she knows all of them.
Yeah, and so she, excuse me, goes back behind the counter and sets them down on the counter, and she disappears for a second, comes back with her little eye loop, and she comes over and leans down close to them and starts inspecting them. This will take a moment. I'm not a jeweler, so I have to take my time.
No worries. If you'd rather I'll have this done by a specialist, I can come back later.
I mean, you're more than welcome to, of course, but I can look them over real quick and give you a rough idea of what I'd be willing to trade for them.
Sure, and I'll just start idly, like, walking around, browsing, not really in particular looking for anything, just passing time.
Sure.
Getting
So
some space to work.
yeah, and as you do, it's very, like, it's a nice space. Like I said, it feels very cozy. It feels kind of, obviously it's not nostalgic to like your homeland or anything like that, but you can definitely feel that there's especially with you speaking your native tongue, there's definitely kind of a kinship to this space that you're kind of feeling an attachment to. It only takes her about, I'd say 3 to 5 minutes for her to look over all 4 of them and come back to you. I believe I have a rough idea for you. Now, I would say that these each are varying in size, but I would say that okay, so we'll do it this way, actually. So these are all about the same size. They're all about 2 to 3 inches in size. So kind of, they're large gems, but they're not, rocks, right? Like they're gemstones. Yeah. And so which one? It was an emerald, a sapphire. What was it again?
I have 4 rubies, 2 sapphires, 2 diamonds, and 2 emeralds.
Okay, so emerald, sapphire, diamond, and ruby. Okay, so she sets aside the diamond and the emerald.
Goes, these I would estimate, if they are of the clarity that they appear to be, that a jeweler would probably give you anywhere from 3,000 to 6,000 each for these, and then moves over to the ruby. This one, ruby and the emerald, and these two would go for about 1,000 a piece. So trade value would be equal. If you're wanting to sell them, it'd be a little less because I don't have need for them, so I'd have to resell them. But if you wish to trade, I could give you a straight value in trade. So essentially, the emerald and the diamonds are worth a lot. And
6,
yeah, basically anywhere from 3 to 6, depending on the size. And then the emerald and the rubies, you're going to get about 1,000 a piece.
Yeah, you said emerald twice. I'm assuming you meant sapphire with the other one.
I'm sorry, sapphire. Yes, apologies. This thing that I'm looking at is less than helpful. So, in fact,
Yeah, that's fine. So the rubies and sapphires are the cheapo ones, and the
Yes.
emeralds and the diamonds are the more expensive ones?
that is correct. Yes.
Okay.
That,
Well, in
that
that
is-
case,
that is
I'm
correct.
suddenly no longer worried about this magic price.
Now you're like, no, I'm not broke. Like, well, and it's funny because if I'm not mistaken, I think Dax still has a good chunk of the gold you guys found in that
Mhm.
ancient chest from the catacombs.
Yep, and she's hoping everyone forgot about it.
Rude.
I mean, Talena is just flaunting these gems to more people without actually thinking about, oh, right, these needed to be shared. Oh, well.
Sure, yeah.
If you think about it, the only few people that still realize Dax has all that loot is most likely just Telena and Grigor at this point.
Oh, that's right, because Merrick is gone, and
Merrick is on
yeah.
a break.
and Basil's gone.
Basil went wherever.
Oh man, Shadow, you lucked out. I didn't even realize that. This is why you can't swap characters, guys. Now that you've just oh wow.
Well,
Shadow's
you also
like,
have to remember. You also have to remember that she found a bunch of it on her own.
She did.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's so funny to me though. Like that go on adventure with friends, convince friends to leave, profit.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
All right.
But
Yes.
so I ask her the second ring, the protective one.
Yes, the ring of
and
protection,
one
yes.
Of yes, and one of the swords.
Okay.
In exchange for both of the sapphires, how much would I have to pay extra?
Okay, so the sapphires I said
Or the
were
1,000 each.
yeah, so that'd be 2,000. So you would owe another 400. That
Yeah,
would basically cover
380.
almost all of the the sword minus 30, and then you owe another 350. So basically, actually 380 is what you would owe for the for the remainder.
But she said slightly more because she needs to resell them and overhead.
Well, because you're trading, and so she told you if you're trading them, then she'll give you highest value. But if you're just selling them, she's going to give you less because she has to turn around and resell them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's like when you have it's like when you have store credit, they're willing to give you more money versus if you just want cash, they give you less.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take one of those swords and the ring of protection in exchange for the two sapphires, and I'll make it 400 for ease of math.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and you can just remove 2 of those sapphires and the 400 gold, and I will drag these items over to your inventory real quick. So you get a dancing rapier and a whoops, I closed it because that was helpful.
Ah, that requires attunement. Dang it. That's fine.
Sorry. If you need clarity
No,
on
it's
that.
fine. I don't have anything attuned at the moment, so it's fine.
Okay. Hang on, let me make sure that I have this correct in here because I'm trying to make sure because unfortunately like the gold value on items doesn't translate. I have to manually do everything, so I'm just making sure those are in there before I drag them in. So you said ring of protection. Did that work? Ah, it did. Cool. So if I edit it in my compendium, it will always hold. I figured it would, but I wanted to make sure. Cool. So you now have a ring of protection and a dancing rapier.
Oh, and that also needs attunement. Excellent. I'm gonna get magic items. Yay.
All right. So yeah. So you are the proud owner of those new items. Congratulations. All right. So
thank you.
yep. So with that, you finish up your little transaction there.
And do you linger in the shop or do you head on out?
No, she's not really interested in consumables at the moment.
Okay.
Actually, you said there were potions. Are there any potions of
Yes.
healing?
Yeah, there's a whole shelf that you can see are different mixtures of red potions of different sizes, and you can tell that she has a full array of potions depending on which one you want.
Are there any price tags for the regular potions of healing?
Yes, the regular potions of healing are 50 gold apiece. And then you can see that basically, just to make it clear, you can see they all have price tags on. They have little little parchment labels on them with twine. The potions of healing are 50. Potions of greater healing are 150. Potions of superior healing are 450, and the supreme healings are 1350.
You said the greater ones were 150.
150 each, yeah. And she's got 2 of those.
I'll grab both and 2 of the regular ones.
Okay, hold on a second.
That's
Potion
400
of...
if I do my math right.
Wait, why? Oh, I see how it does it. Okay, I was like, excuse me, that is an item. Why won't you let me have it? Okay. Okay, so you said, say that again. You said how many of what?
A pair of the greater and a pair of the regulars.
Pair of the greater is 300, and the pair of the regulars is an extra 2. So that's a total of 500 gold. No, I'm sorry, 400 gold. Because it's
I was gonna say what?
Sorry, 1550 is 100, not 200. So yeah, it's 100 for the pair of regulars, and then it's 300 for the other one. So a total of 400 gold.
Excellent. I'll grab those.
Okay, so you get 2 potions of greater healing. Oh wait, actually, hold on. Let me do this. No, don't expand. I want to delete those because I'm going to do something. I'm going to edit their prices real quick. Maybe. There we go. Sorry, I'm multitasking as I do this because I want to make... If I fix them now, I don't have to fix them later.
No worries.
What did I say for the superiors? Those were...
I have regular potions of healing in my sack, so you don't have to add those to my inventory. I just plus 2 of them.
Perfect. That works. Okay, cool. There we go. Now they're changed in my compendium, so when I go to add them to players later, they will have a price attached to them. So you just need the ones of greater?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
There you go. There's 2 of those. Okay, so you have your potions now. All right. Anything else?
No, I'm gonna go to the to my room and play with the sword and the ring and get used to them.
Okay, so you make your way out of the establishment. You only have to go 1 block north to the Wand and the Wizard to find your place and go upstairs. Cool. So you go ahead and basically spend the remainder of some time to attune to those items. While that is happening, we're going to go back over to the other side of town to Dax and Scorch. So after you left Durin's Forge, where did you go? And the question is also, Tip, where did you go?
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I'll
try
let-
to magic shop.
I'll let Tip answer that first.
Okay, so where did Tip go? I'm sorry?
Magic shops.
You were looking for magic shops. Okay. Well, on your side of town, you do have Glimmer's Curio Emporium that you passed when you were with Dax on the way over here, which is actually where Grigor works, which you did see. There's not this part of town. There's not a lot of magic shops. Riverside's not known for them. The Curio Emporium is pretty much the only one in Riverside.
I'm gonna go ahead and go in it.
You're gonna go over there. Okay. So, were you invisible the whole time, or did you Did you reappear at some point?
Nope, so invis.
Okay, still invisible. Okay, so Dax, Tip is just gone, just disappeared.
She could honestly care less. She doesn't know a whole lot about.
That's fair. That's fair.
Even from their conversation, she doesn't really like know Tip, so she doesn't.
Mhm.
She doesn't really care as much. So because of that, she's just gonna call Scorch out, and she's just gonna go sit at one of the docks, outside of the Lucky Tankard.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, so you and Scorch make your way back to the docks and kind of hang out, kind of near the Lucky Tankard. Which right now you can't see anybody. You did catch a glimpse of Grigor, but you can see that he's working at the Emporium. So you have kind of like a line on sight on where Grigor's at. And it's around that same time that Tip, you make your way to Glimmer's Curio Emporium, and invisibly, you just wander into the shop. And it's this very cute, quaint little shop with the doors open and the windows open, and you can hear the sound of the river outside. And it's just got cute little baubles everywhere, and there's like I said before, there's like little like plants and stuff that are hanging from the ceiling, and there's little mushrooms growing out of various spots, and it looks like that the proprietor just grabbed some little like Wonderland scene and just stuck it here and turned it into a shop. And but as you walk in, you also see a various array of little knickknacks and items and of various kinds. You do see a large wooden, like oaken barrel with an open top that has a sign sticking that says that has the letter 5 on top of it. And there's all these various beautifully colored vials and bottles and tincture containers, all kind of overflowing the barrel that's right next to the counter.
First, is there any like bags or maybe some pearls laying around?
Pearls?
Uh-huh. Yeah, worth 100+ gold pieces specifically.
Gotcha. So you do see that there is a case on one side that's not a glass case, but it's more of just kind of like an open wooden box essentially that's on legs. So it's like it's a nice case, but there's no top to it. So you can like reach, and with your height, you can kind of see up over it. It's basically like at your chin, so you can kind of like pull yourself a bit and see it inside of it. And as you look down inside of it, you do see that there are a smattering of small pearls, of other gemstones and such that are just kind of scattered around, and they're all small. None of them are very large, but they are kind of scattered around the case here.
I'm gonna open my little sandbag.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start putting a lot of the pearls in that I can fit.
Okay. And how much value of pearl did you need?
100+.
100+. Okay, so you're gonna need at least 2 of them. And there's only about, I'd say there's about there's 3 in the case.
I'll take all 3.
Okay, and are you just stealing them?
Yeah, they're just gonna go in my bag with them invisible.
Okay, roll me a sleight of hand check with advantage because you are invisible.
Sleight of hand. Wait. Okay, can the thingy go away so I can click it? Thank you.
Grigor, I need you to roll me a perception check, please.
I wish I could read my own thing.
Okay. So, Tip, you go, ooh, pearls, perfect. I need those. And you grab 1, you grab 2, and you go to reach for the 3rd one. And as you do, Grigor, from across the room, as you're carrying some stuff in for Elria, you notice over in the side of the room near the gemstone case that Elria occasionally will go over and kind of rearrange. You see these pearls floating out of the case and then floating down and then disappearing, like completely disappearing from view. And you see 1 and you go, what the heck? And you see 2 and go, okay, that's not right. And then you see a 3rd one going up. What do you do?
I put the boxes down on a shelf and rush over.
Okay. What do you do when you rush over?
Aimlessly grab at the air in that area.
Okay. As you go to grab at the air, you actually feel your hand grab something. And Tip, you suddenly see this hand rush from behind you and grab your arm that's holding the pearl mid-air on its way to the bag. I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the invisibility doesn't just drop if like you're interacting with. Like you have to physically take damage for it to drop, right?
You have to take an attack.
That's right. Okay,
Or
yeah.
do some sort of hostile thing, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll say that it doesn't drop invisibility immediately. What do you do, Tip?
The first reaction is to bite.
You bite the hand?
A sudden hand is grabbing.
Okay, yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
She bites.
Okay, you have a bite attack, don't you?
Yeah.
If you don't, I can give you one because you absolutely should have a bite attack.
Where is my...
Hold on. Let me look at your actions here.
I have
Why do I
unarmed
already not
strike.
see this going over well?
I have unarmed strike or dagger.
Okay, give me a second. I'll give you a bite attack because you absolutely should have one.
Nibble, nibble.
You could make it a generic unarmed attack.
Nibble, nibble, nibble.
Yeah, I mean there already is like an actual physical bite attack that exists, so it's like I might.
Can I use?
I can
I have my
find
special
it.
my species features.
Oh.
Would that technically be?
Oh,
Yeah,
you have here it is. Right here, you have sharp tusks. So
It's just not under.
yeah, so okay, so when you make an unarmed strike, if you hit with them, you deal in. Yeah, so okay, so you already have one, so you just need to make an unarmed strike.
No, I just use my sharp tusks. That's my attack.
Cool. All right. Oh, it is the thing. Awesome. So you all right? So 15. Grigor, what's your AC?
14.
Okay, so your sharp tusks hit. Basically the hand comes in and grabs you. You react, Tip, and go and you bite down on his hand. And you deal. Go ahead and roll damage on that attack. So it's
what was it? 1d4.
well, yeah, it's a 1d4 plus the piercing damage.
It's 1 piercing plus 1d4 psychic.
I had it backwards. Yep. Yeah, and then the invisibility drops as this happens as well. So whatever the 1d4 was.
1d4.
Yeah, so roll a 1d4 for the psychic damage. And Grigor, you're going to take 1 point of piercing plus 4 points of psychic damage. Wow. So you are just having So you latch down on this invisible thing. You watch your hand grip nothing, and the pearl stops moving, and then all of a sudden, your hand starts to just erupt in pain. And as that happens, suddenly there's this 3-foot tall squirrel that you can visibly see in front of you that's clutching the pearl in one hand that you're holding and biting down on your palm, like the back of your palm.
You?
And you suddenly recognize each other.
Tip's just gonna stare up at him like, oh, this is awkward.
Are you staring with his hand still in your mouth?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. She's not letting go of the pearl either, by the way, Grigor.
Unless you're planning on paying for those pearls, return them and stop biting me.
Tip's just gonna let go of the one pearl she has. And just stop biting.
All right, so the third pearl drops into the case, and the case has like a soft base to it, so nothing breaks or anything. And she releases your hand, Grigor.
I keep my hand on her arm and continue staring at her and gesture toward the bag.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's just a bag of sand.
Well, I mean, you were dropping them in there, so wouldn't it be slightly open?
She doesn't know he's seen her dropping this.
Okay, so we'll do this. Grigor, roll me a perception check, and Tip, roll me a. I think this would also be a sleight of hand check, technically, for you trying to conceal it.
Sleight of hand.
Yeah, we'll see if you can hide them and if Grigor can see them. Okay, so Grigor, you look down at the bag of sand. You can't see inside of it. She does have a little bag with her, but it doesn't. You don't appear to see any other pearls. But you do see that 2 are missing. Like, it's very clear there's only 1 left. Like, there's no roll associated with that. There's 1 pearl. There was 3 in here earlier. There's this awkward staring match going on. I say about this point, you two staring back at each other. Elria comes in and says,
What's going on? Oh my! And she sees this squirrel that's basically bigger than her, well, about the same size as her. And she comes around the corner, and as this happens, Tip, you look over and see this short, elderly gnomish woman that's coming around from behind the counter with this cute little like pastel purplish pink cap on her head, tons of wrinkles, and she just looks enamored with your existence. She goes, "What in the gods are you?" And she comes and she gets right up next to you.
Tippy's going to play complete innocent right now. Just an innocent little squirrel. Look, she's gonna like look up between Gregor's hand and this new person, looking like a frightened little creature that is being manhandled by a bigger person.
Roll me a performance check. And I'll say, it'll be a straight roll, actually.
I wish I knew what my own dice were. I made a mistake.
So you trying to look like this super innocent squirrel, and Elria glances from you up to Grigor. Grigor, you see Elria glance up at you with a look of what's going on, not fully understanding what's happening.
This very large squirrels try to steal the pearls,
Oh dear.
and I still see 2 missing.
And you see Elria frown, and Tip, you look over, and it's like disappointing grandma. She has this very big frown show up on her face.
Oh, stealing? Oh dear. Well, that's not allowed.
She looks at Grigor.
Should we call the city guard?
Allowed.
She looks at Grigor.
Should we call the city guard and have them, I don't know, deal with her? Or
And you see, as she says this, she's almost as like offended at herself of like the possibility of calling the guards in to punish this creature in front of her.
The only problem I have with that is this one's capable of turning invisible.
oh, really? That's fascinating. Well, what should we do with her?
And she's like leaning in, like whispering to you, like, I don't know what to do. That gif is perfect, Tyra. That is golden. What does Grigor want to do with Tip?
I'll try and supervise her until we figure out what to do.
All right, that seems all right. My dear, and she looks down at the squirrel. Were you wishing to buy anything or just steal from me?
She'll hear in her head. Well, I could possibly buy something.
Ooh, what was that?
And she's like jumps and she looks around the room.
Tip's like, it's me. Sorry. Yeah,
She looks
I should probably warn people.
Right, I forgot about the voices in the head.
That is wonderfully fascinating. I've never experienced such a thing before. Do it again, my dear.
And she leans in, like just completely enamored with you at this point.
So, do you have like, I don't know, magic-y bag thing that fits like my size, preferably, something like that?
A magic-y bag. Are you speaking of, what is it called? A bag of holding. Yes, is that what you're referring to, my dear?
I don't know. I just need something to put my sandbag in.
Well, I could look and see if I've got one. Just give me a moment. Are you going to try to steal from me, or are you going to pay for it?
No. I'll pay for it.
Okay, you can either roll me persuasion
she
or
won't.
deception. Like one of those. Like I'll leave it to you to decide if she's lying or not. But it's either persuasion or deception.
Ba, 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 ba.
Hmm.
Don't you dare start yawning.
Sorry.
Be a 19.
All right. Well, if you're going to pay for it, let me go see what I have in stock.
And she goes behind the counter, and as soon as she clears the counter, you can't see her anymore. But then you see a door behind the counter open and then close as she goes into a back room. Grigor, are you still holding her, by the way?
Yes, because she can turn invisible. And if I let go and she goes poof, I don't have a very good chance of getting her.
Very true. Okay, so you're still being held by Grigor at this time. Do you guys do anything in the interim while we wait for Elria to come back, or do you guys just kind of quietly sit there and wait awkwardly?
Tip's just chilling.
Okay.
Grigor's keeping an eye on her mouth.
On her mouth. Okay. It doesn't take long before Elria comes back, and you see the door open, close, and then her come around the corner. And she's holding a leather backpack, a small one, the smallest that she could find. And it looks like it would fit you. It'd be a little bit big on you, but it would fit.
So this is the smaller size. It weighs a bit. It's made of very dense leather. But it holds quite a bit. I do believe it can hold quite a lot. However, it's quite expensive, my dear. It goes for 2,500 gold pieces.
Oh, is that all? I can totally pay that.
Oh, very good. Was there anything else that you wish to purchase, my dear? Perhaps the pearls you were trying to grab from my associate?
Oh, yeah, I should probably do that.
Yes. I would prefer not to call the guards. I don't like calling them. They're very rude.
Yeah. Well, if you let this person here let me go, fine. I'm not poofing.
Again, I want you to this time. It's the same thing, either persuasion or deception. This time, however, Grigor, roll me. I think it's gonna be weird. I'm telling you to roll an insight check, but I want you to roll
Insight.
I want you to roll me an insight check for this, and it'll be contested. Okay, 14 on the insight check. And what did Tippy get?
8.
On 8. Okay. So as Tippy says this, Grigor, you're not buying it. It's very clear that if you let her go, you know what's going to happen. And Elria looks at you.
My dear, why don't you go ahead and let her go, and we can conduct our business, yes?
And she's looking up at you.
Yeah, we conduct our business.
And then, Grigor just... I'm not entirely sure it knows what currency is, and to be frank, I can't be sure if there's any coin in her sandbag to pay with.
Oh, I do believe that would be a problem.
And you see all of a sudden Elria is having this dilemma looking between this very cute, seemingly innocent squirrel and Grigor, her trusted associate, and she's going back and forth, and she's starting to get a little stressed, and she's like,
Oh dear. Well, all right, let's
and she's getting flustered.
all right, let's just do this. Grigor, bring her over to the counter, and we shall conduct our business. My dear, I do believe you have 2 pearls. Is that correct?
Yeah, 2 bills.
All right.
Just do.
So the 2 pearls are 50 gold each, so 100 gold, plus the bag, which is 2,500, so 2,600 gold. Do you have the money you can show us?
Yeah.
May I see it, please?
Sure. As Tippy is saying, sure,
Mm-hmm.
a book appears.
Okay. And And does it appear in her other hand?
It kind of like seems to float around her, kind of like an orbit.
Okay. Oh, what is? Oh my goodness! And Grigor, all of a sudden, there's this tome that appears lower than you, but at basically the eye head level height of Tip, and it's floating around. And I'll actually let Fox describe what the tome looks like.
The tome is almost as dark and eerie as the like a haunted dark sky. Worn, kind of looks a little beaten, but there's a symbol like the dead center of the front of the book. First glance, it's just a symbol. Weird shapes. The closer you look, it looks like a spell in itself is on the book. And when it opens, that same symbol begins to glow this eerie red. Which it does. It does open.
So as the tome opens and the symbol starts to glow, which then you can't see as the book is now open, kind of floating around her head, there's this almost like this hum that kind of starts to come out of the book and kind of linger in the air around Tippy and the other two of you. What is Tippy doing with the book?
She's casting a spell.
Okay, what is she casting?
Catnip.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
With a wave of not only her book circling her in a planetary orbit around her.
Uh-huh.
You see her free paw move.
Okay. All right, so it is willing creatures.
She's trying. This is a new spell to her. So
Yeah.
she is just trying.
Sure,
it at
I
first.
understand. Okay, so in that case, because they're unwilling creatures, first off, the question I have is, all right, so Tyra, you're DM professional here. I need to ask you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so if a spell specifically is for for a willing creature, and I'm not seeing in here where it says unwilling creature,
Yeah.
is it does it not have any effect, or is it a DC, like they have to hit a DC?
Nope, there's no DC listed, so it just doesn't work. on
That's okay.
unwilling
That's
creatures.
what I thought. I was just making sure. So Tippy.
But assuming she casts it without knowing, that still uses the spell slot. It just fizzles.
Yeah, she
exactly.
doesn't know.
Yep. So basically, you cast. The book appears, and you get a little smirk and that little glint in your eye. You're like, "I've got this. These fools don't know what's about to happen." And you wave your other hand and let the pinch of sand kind of like salt guy, the little thing from the meme, out of your hand onto the ground. And you guys, Elria and Grigor, watch as this twist of arcane energy kind of just out of the book spins through the room and then disappears. Nothing happens. And Grigor, you kind of like wait for something, like, because you've seen your friends cast spells, and so you see this and you're like, oh no, and then nothing happens and you're like, and Elria,
Was something supposed to happen? I'm confused. I feel like I missed it. Did I have a stroke again?
Again?
I want to hold on. I need somebody to clip the audio of Shadow going again. Like I need that audio clip. That was just so perfect. So Tippy, now that your spell has not worked, make sure you do burn that 3rd level spell slot.
Yeah, it already does. It
Okay,
did.
yeah.
Already.
Nothing has happened. You are still being held by Grigor. The book is floating but no longer glowing. And Elria looks very confused. And Grigor, what does Grigor look like?
Grigor does not look happy.
Yeah, you know it that this was a spell.
A look of worry appears on his face when she mentions a stroke, but then back to not looking happy.
Okay. Does Tippy do
Tippy,
anything?
Tippy gives her book like a you fucking bitch. like that fuck you face. Like what the fuck?
All right, and so as you look at it, the book. So Grigor, you watch as she gives this dirty look to the book, and the book actually floats up, like goes from like laying flat to like looking upright, like you're gonna read it, slams shut to the point where the cover is facing Tippy's face, and then just spins and disappears.
You offended the book.
Tippy's like, get your ass back out here. I'm not done with you.
Roll me a persuasion check.
I didn't think we'd be down to trying to convince a book to reappear.
The book is sentient.
Melon. I'm picturing Melon like curled up with a blanket over their head. The book is sentient. What is happening? Oh, I love it. I love it. In Tippy, in your head, you hear no.
And it talks back.
That's great.
Oh my god, we have a gaggle of amazing people right now.
Yeah, the party dynamic just changed dramatically. All right, well, while this awkward encounter is happening in the Emporium, we're going to go back over to the tavern, specifically the Lucky Tankard. Melon, your character has been conducting business at this point in days. It's still morning. Time hasn't progressed that far, but it's still pretty busy. Like I said, you watched Grigor leave. You saw Cassivus and Spitwick leave. Do you continue to stay around here and do your shift, or do you do anything else?
Helrea will continue her work unless she'll probably take a quick break as it gets closer to the midday area.
Okay.
Everybody seems to have calmed down, and she wants to take a walk.
Okay. And yeah, and you look over to Stoutbeard, kind of with that face of like, and he just he doesn't say anything from across the room. He just kind of waves you on and kind of giving permission to go on.
A nice sweet smile, and she walks out towards the riverside.
Okay. You step out onto the cobblestone like wharf front of the riverside here, and catch that breeze that comes off of the River Tyne and mixes up in your hair, and you get the pleasant smell of water that is both fresh but kind of a mixture of some salt mixed in there. Occasionally the hint of dead fish, because I mean, obviously there are fishermen here. But it's a smell that is kind of almost like homey, I guess you could say. And you do see off to the kind of northeast from where you're standing, sitting on the riverbank, you see an interesting creature. You see a dark-skinned tiefling with bright, vibrant, fire-like hair, sitting, dangling their feet over the waterfront, with a large mastiff dog, sitting next to him, just looking out over the water. But you do notice from this angle that it is in fact a tiefling.
A cautious approach, keeping probably 15 to 20 feet away, approaching the waterfront as if I'm just admiring the view.
Okay.
However,
Real quick, Shadow, roll me a perception check. Go ahead, Melon.
the passive nature of perception, just without the surrounding area, listening for any sailors eavesdropping information, or potentially spotting a low hood.
Okay. Right. So in that case, roll me a perception as well, to see what you can glean. What did Shadow? What did Dax get?
6.
6.
Yeah, she doesn't see crap. She's too busy focused on the water.
You are enjoying the quiet calmness of the river and your newfound companionship in Scorch, and you are actually happy for once in a long time. for Melon, I'm only saying this because your character's not audibly introduced themselves. So, but you are hearing kind of a gaggle and cacophony of conversation all around you, but nothing that like strikes up your ear as gold per se. You do hear a group of older gentlemen walking by that are talking about something, and as they get closer, just, did you hear what happened up in North Daroon a couple days back? And went, no, I didn't. What happened? And as they're talking, you kind of get the gist through the conversation that there's been reports of caravans being found basically decimated way north of North Daroon, and no one knows what's going on, and they're talking about that they think it's bandits or something, but no one really has any information. But something that you do notice is that there is no low hoods anywhere around here, and that does catch you as odd. You're used to seeing them kind of lingering in corners and shadows, and there's not one to be seen.
It couldn't have been. Sliding a little bit closer. Is there like a market stall of any sorts nearby the dark-skinned tiefling and her dog?
I'd say, so the way that this is all set up is the cobblestone walkway that is the wharf, that is like the main section of dock. The very middle of it has sporadic stalls that are scattered in a kind of a row all the way down the wharf with space in between in various places. So I'd say that there's a few of those stalls kind of around where you're at, but even with that, they're not directly near this tiefling. They're about 20 to 30 feet minimum away, giving plenty of space on all sides of these stalls for traffic to flow in both directions.
Seeing as the tiefling and her dog are standing out, I am going to be keeping an eye on them as calmly and honestly sneakily as I can.
Okay.
While just kind of browsing around to the other stalls, not necessarily looking for anything spectacular.
Okay. I mean, all of these stalls are pretty common wares. You have a bread vendor that's selling some fresh baked bread. You have another one that's selling fruit and vegetables. You have another that's selling some cured meats. But I mean, it's your typical marketplace items.
So, as to not be drawing suspicion, I'm buying a loaf of the bread and a small chuck of the cured meats.
Okay, so you get a small chuck of some cured ham and a loaf of bread. I'd say both of those together runs you a whopping silver.
Lovely.
Yep, and so you're blending in that space. Dax, you and Scorch have been having a pleasant time here. You did hear a conversation pass behind you from some old gentlemen that were just kind of belaboring what's going on around the city and something about some caravan somewhere. Nothing that was like, oh, that doesn't seem important. But you do roll. I would say, actually, we're gonna do this. What's your passive perception?
How do I
Passive-
determine that again?
Oh,
Anything
please.
passive is going to be 10 plus your base modifier.
Which for perception is based off of wisdom, I do believe.
So it's going to be 10 plus whatever your skill check would be.
It's also just a small number to the right of the skill.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's how they do it in Foundry. Oh, nice.
14.
Okay, so do me a favor for Melon. Roll me a... you know what? Make it a stealth check.
Melon. Okay.
Okay. So, Dax, as you're sitting there with Scorch, you're kind of just glancing around, and out of the corner of your eye, you start to catch a flash of red, like beautiful, like vibrant red in the peripheral of your eye. And as you go to look for it, and you kind of like turn your head to kind of follow whatever was grabbing your attention, it suddenly vanishes, and it's somewhere to the left of your peripheral, and it definitely caught your attention, and then vanished kind of out of nowhere.
She she's gonna kind of look in the direction she saw it. And if Melon's still over there,
I will say, she's been wandering just in the general market area, enjoying the peace of a very short break.
So
okay, so would she have? So she would have moved by now, or would she still be in that general vicinity?
It's the general area as she is looking around. And how would you want me to play this out? Because she's occasionally giving glances to the tiefling
mm-hmm.
just to kind of keep watch and basically observe what they do.
Yeah, basically with the passive perception of 14, so the 18 stealth check is like you're able to maneuver and kind of keep yourself anonymous and less of like a standout sort of figure very easily. With the passive perception of 14, Dax, you're occasionally seeing this glance as you kind of glance the area. You see the red again and the red again. And I'd say of those, one of the many times you kind of catch it, like, this is, well, why is this like, that's a very vibrant dress. You realize one of those times that you guys both make eye contact.
Okay. And so having turned, Melon would be able to see that Dax has two different color eyes, one blue and one orange. And that her ears are also pierced quite a bit. And that the front tips of her hair actually kind of emit flames. And she would be able to see more of kind of like what she's wearing.
A description of my character for Dax, if not aware. Mostly like a very fine porcelain style skin tone. A vibrant red dress with short black hair and looking essentially like a human, just normal-ish, except for vibrant ruby red eyes.
Okay.
As they-
and
I
Oh,
would
go
say
ahead.
as they make contact, my character would give, the courteous smile of two strangers just accidentally making eye contact just to be nice. Social cues are key.
Dax kind of gives a hesitant and shy kind of like smile back because she doesn't know who this is. She doesn't trust anyone. She trusts the people she was with a little bit, but she doesn't trust them a whole lot. So she's still gonna give the kind of that shy, I don't really know you, but I'll put on this facade of being nice.
And to be quite fair, because she's been got, my character will actually kind of leisurely and meanderingly make approach towards the darker tiefling after the eye contact breaks, and she kind of merges back into the crowd.
So are you, so I thought I was following that and then I think I lost it. So
it was the nice, simple, oh, we accidentally made eye contact, simple, nice smile. Dax was giving the awkward, kind of shy smile. And then, crowds move by and suddenly back into the crowd.
Oh, okay, okay. So she would not be moving in the direction of Dax anymore. She's moving away.
Well, she is moving towards Dax, but meandering through the rest of the crowd, kind of just a not straight path.
I understand. Okay. So for a moment there, Dax, you kind of lose sight of this individual, and I'd say after a couple of beats of kind of glancing around, Scorch lets out a bark or two, And I'd say that after that, if Melon is still moving in that direction, that you guys would be close enough you could have a conversation. And that Scorch is like looking up at you, barking like, "Who is this individual? What are they doing?"
Dax would try and calm Scorch down, and would be basically being like, down boy, like telling him to lay down.
Yeah, and he kind of.
And with a very kind demeanor and a simple crouch down into almost eye level with Scorch, holding the cured meat chuck within her arms, gives a nice head tilt and a, "You're quite an service, little furball, aren't you?"
He's sniffing towards the cured meat.
"May I?"
She hesitantly nods yes.
Scorch leans towards the meat, looks up.
Hellraya will take the character's gonna take her dagger, slice off a little bit of the meat, and hand it to Scorch,
Scorch leans in and grabs it and starts eating it.
putting the knife back away. Reaches out to give ear scritchies.
He lets you.
Such a fine beast, I will say. Where'd you find him?
Not wanting to divulge much information, as she does not know this person. She's just gonna be. I just came across him. He was a stray.
Hey, Neon.
Yes.
May I use my either passive insight or standard insight, please?
Well, if you want to use your passive, it's just going to be shadow rolling either persuasion or deception, which technically would be deception. Otherwise, if you just want to make an insight check, then we'll do it that way.
Okay. As well, would I be able to use a check or just basic knowledge to discern that this is the same type of dog that the low hoods would usually like
So we're going to
to...
do two things then. In that case, we're going to make an insight check from you against Dax. So you roll insight, Dax roll deception, and then Melon also roll me a history check, please.
God, I love my BS meter.
Wow!
Don't worry, I love my BS meter more. I got a 29.
Ooh.
Okay. So, before we do anything, roll
I love my +9 for deception.
Yeah, that's insane.
Talk
So
about
you
that.
rolled a
A
nat 20?
+9 to insight.
Nice. So you rolled a nat 20 on the deception?
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay. Also roll me that history check real quick, Melon, please. Ooh,
19.
Okay. All right. So as you're having this conversation about this beautiful creature, you're looking over it and you recognize that the bandana that's still tied around Scorch's neck is familiar, and you know where it came from. You know that this is one of the Low Hood's guard dogs. Where it came from specifically, you're not sure, but you know that this is one of their dogs. However, as she's telling you that this is a stray, she seems very believable. Like oh, okay, maybe it actually is a stray. Like maybe it got loose, maybe whatever. But she seems as honest as the day is long.
The story going through the mind is that this is a dog that escaped the manor before it went up in flames.
There you go.
Which, is kind of true in a way, but...
It is. I will also say this. You are very good at reading people. You are very good at knowing when someone is being truthful or when someone is lying to you. This person feels very genuine, very believable, and it almost catches you off guard in like a... wow, okay. I genuinely was not expecting that. On the flip side of this, Dax, you are very good at lying to people, and you are also very good at reading people, and you know how to weave stories to get what you want or to protect yourself, and you can tell this person is very good at reading people. And you let
God.
this roll off your tongue so smoothly that the both of you have this external, oh, okay, I'm telling this story, I'm believing this story, but you have this internal, like, almost like this unspoken battle of the minds going on of like, wait a minute, you're really good at this. Wait a minute, you're really good at this. And there's like a whole separate conversation that's not even taking place.
The freaking tandem, like, in synchronization of these are the two sides or two
Yes.
different sides of the same coin is just
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is
baffling.
exactly. Yeah. And all the while, Scorch is nomming on a piece of meat right between you two.
I'm imagining this anime like split view of like both of their faces looking at
Yes.
each other, and the audio is just quiet for like a solid second.
Yes.
It's-
And then all
the
you hear
goal-
is
No, yeah, I was about to say the audio's all just scorch 9 on a
yes.
9 on a piece of meat.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Then this is quite a fancy little bandana he's wearing. You might want to consider some new marking of your ownership to him.
It's in the works.
Plenty of ne'er-do-wells like to utilize this.
I appreciate your concern, but I will handle it as I see fit.
Ooh, spicy.
Still giving Scorch the scritches and letting him enjoy the cut of meat. You're not from around here.
And Dax's response to that, because she's heard it so many times, is this: it's very sarcastic. What gave it away? Oh, was it by chance the frickin' red skin or my glowing hair? Maybe it was the different color eyes that are quote unquote demonic eyes. I don't know. Pick a feature. Maybe something gave it away.
As you're saying this, I want you to roll me a perception check with advantage, please.
Is that Dax rolling it?
Yes.
All right, I have a question though.
Yes.
What is the hold for my character's whole spiel? like
What do you mean the hold?
is there some way to check to look through what the special item is doing?
Hang on.
I just don't know what the number is.
Oh, I see what you mean. Let me check something. Okay. It is going to be. Hold on, I'm going to DM you.
Okay.
I looked down at stream, and for some reason my brain read the Foundry chat as Bristlefail instead of Bristletail.
Is that listed just on my
No,
spells page then?
It's not.
Or-
Well, it's my understanding. Because you don't. Hold on a second. Because unless I'm crazy.
There is a number listed up here.
Where are you seeing that? Sorry. One second. New character stuff. Excuse me.
So, Chad, how are you?
Yeah, sorry.
All right. I don't even know what my proficiency modifier would be at this point.
It's 2.
2. Okay.
I believe at level 5
At
it's.
third level, it's at fifth level, it's 3.
Oh, it went up to 3. Yeah, there it is. So if you look
But
on the first page of your character
I am
sheet,
I'm a multi-class, so I've got 1 level in one and 4 levels in another. I don't believe I've gotten
look at
to
your
that, or is it just character level?
first page of your character sheet, right underneath your
Okay.
your picture on the right. You have initiative, walk, and then proficiency modifier.
It's a +3.
Yep. Okay, so
Cool.
now go ahead and roll. So Dax, go ahead and roll me that perception check, please.
I've got a number.
I did 22.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
18 plus 4.
So
Did I do the math right?
nope. Yeah. Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So hang on one second.
That advantage saved me, or else it would have been an 8 plus 4.
Yeah. So as you're standing there having this conversation,
Oh, Dax is still sitting.
well, sorry, standing, sitting, as you are present in that space having this
Okay.
conversation.
Fair enough.
Hang on a second. 1 second.
I just DM'd
Yep,
you
yep,
what
yep, yep.
what I believe it would be
Perfect.
similar to.
That's what I was getting ready to add. Okay. So as you're sitting there having this conversation and you glance up and you rattle off this almost rehearsed, semi-sarcastic comment response of, oh, I'm not from around here. Gee, what gave it away? Blah, 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 blah. You look up and for a brief moment, you see this flickering effect that kind of like glints over her face, over this woman's face and eyes specifically, that have this sort of like in and out effect, and it's almost as if you see, it's almost like catching somebody else's reflection in a mirror for a brief moment, and you also see. One second.
Sorry, I am
Nope, you're good.
rattling these off to you as quick as I can. I did not expect this to get broken in the first section she was in.
We're not breaking it. Okay. So you see that, and I'm not going to tell anybody else because this is specifically what Dax would see. For if you didn't know, Shadow, I just DM'd you. Okay, while that conversation was just happening, let's go ahead and pan back over to real quick, Talina. You had gone back to your room are you still in your room basically trying to attune to these items? Because I know it takes a little while.
Yeah, I also, as I got into my room, I remembered something that Cassivus asked of me, so I'm going to cast Sending again.
Okay. What do you send and to whom?
To whom is the lady in red?
Oh, okay. Okay, and what do you
Because
send? What do you send to the lady in red?
Someone, like a creature described to me by someone who has met it, which combined with me having seen her and Cassivus's extra description, I'm guessing that I might be able to get it off.
Okay.
And I once again counted this out in Notepad because I know me. So she sends, "You do not know me, and I do not know you, but we should meet. Wizard and Wand, noon tomorrow. Look for blue theatrical garment."
That's exactly 25 words?
That's exactly 25 words.
Well done, sir. That is a hard thing to do. Okay, well, in an interesting turn of events then, so we pan to Selena, and we pan right back to where we just were, and in this quick conversation that's happening, Melon, you're having this brief stare-off with Dax, and all of a sudden, in your mind, you hear a completely different voice giving you the message that you just heard.
And as soon as that message comes through, the kind facial facade collapses for a moment, and there's a sense of like the smile fades to a neutral, and the eyes are a little wider and listening to what was just spoken. before she goes back to a smile and back to Scorch and Scritches.
And Dax, you watched all of that like roller coaster of facial changes happen.
Yeah, and Dax is what she saw was enough for her to immediately stand up on her feet and start backing away and calling Scorch, and she looks scared.
Okay, so as that happens, Scorch backs up reluctantly. He's enjoying the scritches, but he has already finished his meal, and it's the same time that that's happening is when this voice enters your head, or Melon's your character's head, and so the two of you are now standing there. Dax's entire demeanor has changed. Your entire demeanor has changed. What do you guys do?
Can I discern from her expression that she may have seen through what happened?
It's like when you're having a conversation with someone and you see on their face when they remember something, recognize something, whatever, and their persona changes. You just saw the same thing where you were having this sort of simple conversation, and then all of a sudden her entire facial position just contorts and changes, and you watched it happen, and so you know she saw something that is beyond what you think she saw. Also, as a reminder, that message that came into your head, you can respond to it.
Does it have to be verbally?
I don't know. I don't believe it does, because it's a telepathic message. So my understanding is you can telepathically respond to it. Like you can think the thought essentially, and it will send it back to the sender.
There is a vocal component to it. So
Oh, there is a vocal component? Okay, I
that's
take back
correct,
my previous
yeah.
statement. You do have to say it. And Melon knows this, but the character does not. There is a word count.
Okay.
So if it is over a certain number, it will just message cut off. It'll
Is
end
there
wherever it was.
is there a limit to how long before I can send back? Does it have to be immediate, or can it be a lingering in a moment?
It can answer in a like manner immediately.
Yeah.
So it's a use it or lose it kind of thing.
Okay, so whispered tone as Scorch is getting backed away and Dax is
Looking like she just saw a ghost.
not the strangest way I've been called to a meeting. I'll see you there. With that, she'll dispel whatever effect is to the spell itself on her end.
Mm-hmm.
And
Of the communication?
standing. Yeah, the communication.
Okay.
And then standing from her crouched position, looking towards Dax, and her gentle, smiling customer service face fades to one of a almost resting bitch face.
Oh, geez. We have more RBFs. Lovely.
And just stares at Dax. You saw, didn't you?
Dax opens her mouth to try and respond, but nothing comes out, and her face is one of I'm trying to think of the best way to word this.
I can just imagine the sweat trickling off of her brow right now.
Yeah, but so she's the best way to put it is she's not afraid of what you are, but she's afraid of who you might be because of her background. I'm not sure if that makes any sense.
Ooh, okay.
We like to call this the spicy meatball.
And Neon will know what I mean
Oh, I know.
when I reference her
know what both
background.
of you guys are going through, and I have the middle ground, and I know what's going on, and you guys are both like, what is happening? I'm so here for this.
So that's what her fear state is. She's not afraid of what you are, but she's afraid of who you might be.
And there's that fear on her
So-
face of like pseudo recognition mixed with fear of the unknown.
So, with that expression and the fact that she couldn't get words out, my character is going to take that as a good. Keep those lips pierced, and we will be great friends in the long run.
Customer service smile.
Turning to the dog. Turning to the dog. And you be a very good boy. As, the whole back to smiling normal comes.
Yikes.
And then she walks away.
Dax immediately, just out of pure adrenaline, calls Scorch, and she runs.
Ooh.
She doesn't walk. She doesn't fast walk. She runs.
Okay. Where does she run to?
She runs in whatever direction she was walking. So if she's sitting
Okay.
across from the Lucky Tankard, I'm gonna say she's probably facing the west dock. So she runs towards the west dock. She runs west.
Okay. All right. So you run past
And-
the Lucky Tankard. So-
Yeah,
Okay.
she runs past the Lucky Tankard, almost towards the outskirts of the outskirts of Faerun, until she can find a spot that she feels comfortable sitting in and almost taking shelter in.
Okay. I mean, there's plenty of alleyways and little nooks and crannies within the edge of the city there that she could absolutely duck into. Is she running to the edge of the city to the like the soft wooded area from where you guys came from a couple
Let
nights
me
prior,
see.
or
How do you like ping again?
just if you're on your selection tool, you just hold. Click and hold.
It's not working.
As long as you have the little guy selected in the little like square selection box, as long as you just click anywhere on the screen and hold down for a second or two, it should ping. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Yeah, no, so she's gonna kind of run so she runs this way.
Okay.
Then she kind of cuts in,
Mm-hmm.
and then she holds up in whatever alleyway she can end up finding, probably somewhere around here.
Okay, so she makes it to the residential district. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So
And she's terrified.
okay. So as you're running by, a couple times you pass some city guards that try to bark at you to stop running, and then they don't follow, or you bump into a citizen here or there, and it just kind of ramps you up even more, and the fear level kind of climbs a little bit until finally you kind of just unconsciously take a corner, find yourself in a dimly lit alley that seems semi-secluded and safe enough, and just hunker down into a safe sort of space.
And she wasn't checking because she was that scared, but was Scorch following her the entire time?
Scorch was following you, and as you hunker
Okay.
down in your little spot there, Scorch comes up and looks concerned and gives you a lick on the face, and has that instant
She-
dog mentality of something's wrong, I comfort.
She gives him like a little pat and motions for him to lay down next to her.
Oh, you don't even have to motion. As soon as you start patting, he kind of like does the little half dog circle thing, sits down and like lays down next to you.
Okay. And that's where Dax now chills. She
Okay.
now lives there.
All right, so Dax now lives there. That's the end of that story. It was good times. As we jump back over to Talina, you sent this message off, and you get a response, which is the response that Melon had earlier. Now that you've sent that off, what do you do?
I'm assuming. I don't remember if it's a short rest or a long rest for attunement. I think it's a short one.
I think it's considered a short rest. Let me double check.
Yeah.
Um,
I just don't have any plans for the afternoon. Just getting ready for the performance for tonight, I guess.
it's a short rest.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll just get ready for the performance for tonight.
Okay.
I'll keep the ring on.
Okay.
Between all my not quite as real as other rings.
Sure.
Theatrical gear. I do see if I can get my my performance gloves over my chain shirt and how that feels.
Your performance gloves over your what?
My performance clothes over my chain shirt.
Oh,
to see how that feels. 'cause
Gotcha. Yeah, you
that's
could
what I
probably do
was
that.
planning for tomorrow. Like, I'm not gonna perform with the chain shirt under,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to make sure that it doesn't feel wrong when I'm wearing it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll feel a little. I mean, it won't feel super wrong to you, but it will look a little bit more bulky than normal, but not by a lot. Chainmail shirts
I'm
aren't.
okay with her knowing I'm armed. I'm
Yeah,
armored.
chainmail shirts aren't super bulky. They're just an added layer essentially.
Mhm.
Okay, so in that case, you're just spending the rest of the day prepping.
Yeah.
We're gonna jump back over before we progress the day any further to the standoff that was happening in the Glimmer's Cure Emporium. Tip, you just failed, unfortunately, at putting these two to sleep. They've caught you stealing pearls. They're now trying to get you to purchase the bag you've asked for, along with the 2 pearls, with money, with a lot of money. At this point, what do you do?
I'm gonna try to get out of Gregor's
Okay,
grasp.
try to slip him free. Okay, so I would say based on how this has gone out, I'm not going to say it's a grapple situation because he's just kind of like holding you at this point. If you want to go ahead and try to roll a, let's just say this is a Dex saving throw. And then from there, we'll see what happens.
Well, at least it wasn't a strength.
Okay, 16. All right. So what is, hold on, I have an idea. Let's do this. What is Grigor's? Okay, perfect. I love this. Okay, so Grigor, you're sitting there and you're holding her and you're looking at Elria and trying to figure out what to do. And you feel a bit of movement and you look over, and as soon as you glance over going, I feel something, and you see this little squirrel hand just zoop, slip right out of, like pull right out of your hand. And it, like you watch it happen, you see, and you go, oh shoot, she's pulling out of my grip. What do you do? What do you two do?
I go for a grapple.
Okay, so you could try to grab her. Okay, so now we're gonna have a grapple. So, hold on, I had to do this a whole bunch in my in-person game. I gotta remember how it works. You are gonna do a, I think it's a Dex or a Strength check, and then Tip, you're gonna either do an Acrobatics or an Athletics check, if I recall correctly. I may be messing that up.
Almost.
How close? How off was I?
The defense is correct. The actual grappling is a athletics.
Athletics. Okay.
So
All right.
grapplers are athletics, which is strength based, versus the grapplee athletics or acrobatics.
That's what I. That's right. Okay, I was close. Okay, so in that case, yes. So I almost had that. That was my original gut. I should have gone with my gut. Okay. So Grigor, you need to roll me a strength check, and Tip, you're gonna roll me a athletics or an acrobatics check, whichever one's higher.
Strength check or athletics check?
For you, it's strength, because you're the attacker. You're trying to grapple her. Oh, okay. So Tip, you slide out of Grigor's hand and immediately try to pull away. And Grigor sees this happen and lunges at you. And he is able to grab you, only barely. He's able to grab you and start to kind of like, how do you grab Tip? Do you try to like pin her to the ground? Do you just try to like bear hug her?
I use my free hand to grab her neck and push her down to the ground.
Ooh, geez. Okay. All right. So, Tip, you suddenly feel this large human hand grab your throat and shove you down to the ground and has you pinned to the ground currently. What do you do?
Body slam.
Yeah.
Out of frustration at this point, anger at getting body slammed,
Oh, yeah. You just got boom, right into the ground.
she forcefully brings her book back out.
Okay. So, very well. And
Against the book's will.
She's like, get your ass out here. And I am going to cast. Yeah, I almost hit the wrong one. That moment when you accidentally almost clicked Mind Sliver, which is not the one you want to click.
Okay. Oh, snap. All right. Okay. All right. So in this case, we're gonna do this for Elria and Grigor. Grigor, I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw, and I will do so for Elria. Okay. Okay. So both of you failed. So that means, all right. So now you can go ahead and roll the damage tip.
Can't target because the tokens aren't on the map, but that's fine.
Yeah, there's no targeting. Yeah, you just got to roll for it. We're doing it semi old school.
So I'm trying to figure out why it's making me roll 2d6s.
Did you cast
should be
it at?
one.
Did you cast it at 5th level?
I don't have.
No,
Wait.
it's you are 5th level. The
Oh.
spell's damage
it
increases by
automa-
1d6 when you reach
it-
5th level.
Okay, there you go.
It
Yes.
auto does it for
Yeah,
me. Okay.
yeah, because the way this spell works. Okay. Double threes. Okay, okay. All right, so Grigor, you take 6 points of force damage as these spectral blades suddenly conjure and appear in the room and sweep around Tippy, hitting you and throwing you off of her 5 feet away from her. Or no, I'm sorry, I misread that. I'm sorry, not throwing you 5 feet, just hits you and knocks you off of her. Unfortunately, Elria is she's old and she's frail, and she's just, and she throws her hands up, and these swords smack into her and throw her against the wall behind her. And she looks pretty battered already. So I would say, based on that, I would say that you are no longer grappled. You're still prone. Just based on how that spell is articulated, we'll go ahead and say that.
I have a quick question.
I probably have a quick answer.
The entire situation where my character is outside the Lucky Tankard near this area, right?
It's about a block and a half to the east.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're inside
I was just
the shop.
checking.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I was just checking if I heard like a commotion from inside or something.
No, you'd be too far away to hear it at this
Okay.
point because it's just like a ruckus. It's just things getting kind of tossed around.
You're
But
using
who knows what
very descriptive words.
I was gonna say, who knows what this squirrel is gonna do? It for all we know, they could cast fireball in 4 seconds. I don't know. Like,
Don't have that spell yet. Wait, hold on.
Keyword yet.
Actually, it's 6 because.
Okay,
Errands is
no.
6.
I don't have that yet. So I'm not being grappled anymore, which is what Tippy wanted. Why do I have a thing on my mouse? I don't. Does it say anything about it staying with me?
what the thing? It's not very well worded, is it? It just says you. Oh, momentary. So no, it lasts long enough for to do the attack and then it goes away because it says momentary.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a very
So then-
poorly worded one, but yeah, it just goes away. So it does the damage and then they disappear.
So the moment I feel his hands leave me, I'm gone.
You've gone as in disappear.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, as soon as the swords appear and it hits you and throw you off of her, Grigor, and throw Elria across the room, she disappears.
This squirrel's making some enemies.
Yeah, yeah. So at this point, you are invisible. Does she stay in the room or what does she do?
She's headed towards the door, but the shopkeeper will hear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. That hurt.
Oh,
Like,
you
being body
don't hear
slammed is gonna
hear
hurt.
you don't hear a response.
You killed her.
Tibby, though, feeling bad that she did hurt the innkeeper, will pull the pearls out and place them on the ground at the door, like the threshold of the door.
All of this for nothing.
All of this for nothing.
She feels bad. She didn't want to hurt the old lady.
So as you are going
What-
out the door, you drop the 2 pearls at the doorstep. Grigor, as you kind of like get yourself up, you're like, that hurt, and you look over, you see the 2 pearls that were missing at the doorstep with the door open still. No sign of the squirrel, obviously, and your employer Elria is behind, kind of like in the open area where the counter starts to curl around. She got thrown back there, and she's laying prone on the floor. She does appear to be breathing, but she does not. She's not like getting up or anything.
Grigor takes a potion of healing out of his pouch and tries to administer it to her.
Uses the what? I'm sorry. The potion of
The
healing.
potion of healing.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So you give her the potion of healing. Go ahead and roll me a d4. Or yeah, there we go. 2d4. Yeah. All right. So she gets 5 points of health back, which she took 6. So she's as soon as you give her the potion of healing and you help pour it down her throat, she goes, "Ugh, that helps quite a bit, dearie. Thank you." And she gets up, and as she starts to stand, her wounds start to heal, and she starts. It's good to know those potions are worth what I pay for them. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you.
Grigor abstains from mentioning that it wasn't one of her potions, but he goes to retrieve the pearls.
Okay, so yeah, you grab the 2 pearls off the doorstep.
And he goes to put them back in the box.
Okay, and what was that? I heard my name.
Could you remove the blue square I put?
Suddenly, a large shield just appears in town, and there's a force field as the aliens
where it
arrive
came
and
from.
destroy all of humanity. How did you do that? Oh, I see. Okay.
I don't know.
You sent you sent
my mouth.
it was an AoE template for, I assume, your spell.
Probably it was like it just wouldn't go, and I was like, "Fuck! I have to click something, I guess."
Excuse me. Okay, so Tip has left the building.
Tip has caused chaos.
Yep. I'm so shocked that Fox is causing chaos. Although this chaos is like inter-party fighting, which is
Turmoil.
So good. This has been a weird, good but a weird episode because you guys are all over the city, which is pretty wild.
It's also interesting because we're starting to develop party dynamics when we're not even a party.
No, I know. It's great. All right.
Someone is terrified of another person.
Yep.
One of them's mad at a thief.
Yep.
One of them's just concerned about one of the new faces that are poking around.
Yep. I think this is actually a good place to stop too. We're hitting that point pretty close here anyways. And I think this is a good place to put pause until our next session for sure. So we will go ahead and pick up with the next section of all this insanity in the next episode, where we'll find out what happens with Dax and her newfound fear, Tip and the attempted robbery she just tried to do after almost killing the cute shop owner and attacking Grigor. Talina has a concert to put on, as well as a meeting that is now scheduled, and Melon's new character has to go to said meeting, not knowing that the meeting is actually for one of the party members of the person she just met.
And maybe next time, my character will actually introduce their name.
Probably.
In character.
If, for what it's worth, both whether it's my online game or my in-person game, both parties suck at names. I literally have several.
Well,
there's an NPC in my in-person game where he was the equivalent of a low hood, and they had captured him and were interrogating him and asking all sorts of questions and stuff. And then they ended up getting him again later and asking him more questions. Not once did they ever ask his name in the plethora of questions they asked. So finally, when they let him go and he wandered off and they realized they hadn't given him a name, they had just been calling him Homeboy the entire time. So he's now canonically Homeboy. They don't know it. He has a name. They just don't know it. And so now he's just commonly referred to as, oh yeah, you guys remember Homeboy? And so anytime there's like a whisper of like a bad guy that might pop up, they're like, watch, it's gonna be Homeboy. He's coming back for revenge.
Nice.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm just enjoying it, and my character didn't have a reason to drop her name just yet.
No.
It's like
No, you're just doing your job.
random stranger in a tavern, random stranger with their dog on the docks, who subsequently caught a glimpse of stuff they shouldn't have and feared for their life.
Indeed.
Feared they were going to be forced back into something they didn't want to be part of.
Yup.
Yay!
All sorts of fun. Okay, so yeah, make sure you guys, if you have any questions for notes and stuff, make sure you grab them because there was kind of a lot tonight. If there's any questions on character stuff for the two newbies who brought in new characters, let me know. And yeah, I will also, Melon, if you can please get me the Hero Forge stuff for your new character, I will get that swapped out in OBS.
I sent those photos to you. Do you want the other variant photos too?
These are fine. Can you? Yeah.
Do you want me to
Can you
adjust the background?
No,
or-
everything's fine. I was just saying, can you just not be so zoomed in? If you zoom out just a little bit, I can crop a little bit for OBS. It'll just look a little bit cleaner. It gives me wiggle room to work with because in Discord people get moved around based on who's in voice chat. So if I have more on the bottom, it will help.
I don't know if I could go back and do that because unless
mean-
it's saved.
I mean, all you'd have to do is just go back to the same thing and take. I mean, you'll have to take the photos again, but
Just
But
saying,
I-
Tightrope. That is a perfect recap of today's session with
Oh.
those gifts.
here, let me look at this real quick.
Well, what I was saying is the
It's an art.
Hero Forge doesn't save what I last did, and I don't know if I saved it.
Did you not
because
save
I
the
don't have a
character?
file. I don't have a file or like a login or anything with Hero Forge.
It doesn't cost anything.
Oh.
It's
I
free.
can redesign the character pretty cool.
No, that's fine. I'll make it
but-
work. I'll make it work then. But I would recommend getting an account and having this stuff for sure because it's free.
I didn't know that you could get an account and just save them.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yep.
I've got a whole bunch saved. Most of mine are Durant, which is weird, but I have to see this.
I can go
recap.
back
Okay.
through and readjust that then.
No, it's not a problem. Well, I mean, obviously we have a while, so I'm gonna go over here.
Are we thinking 1 week or 2 weeks?
I'm good. I'm down for next week.
I think next week will work. Let me look. Hold on. Let me check my calendar.
We should
I'm checking my calendar
probably
too.
Deal with that.
Off stream?
Yeah, if it's
So
gonna
that
be a big
others
conversation, I can.
All right, everybody.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah. Oh, I was gonna see if I could go through I was gonna try to do the GIF recap. I was gonna actually see if I could pull it up because it was pretty funny.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see if I
that.
can. Yeah. Let me see if I
Hey,
can do this real
Neon.
quick. Yes.
We can postpone the communication.
Is there like a way to have notes in your inventory section?
Yeah. Like if you go to your character sheet. So actually, before I close Foundry, if you go to your character sheet, and you go to the last little quill, oh, that's only in D&D Beyond. They have a
In
notes
your
section.
inventory, you can do that as well. That's how I did it. At the bottom of your inventory, there's a plus button. Just make a loot icon. Just make a loot item and just name it something that is obviously not an item, and then use the description as a note to
notebook.
something.
Nice.
Also, oh my god, the last GIF in
Okay,
the
hold on.
recap.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to look at them, but I'm gonna do it on stream. So I just got to figure out how to do this real quick. So we're gonna do. We're gonna add a display capture, and then we're gonna do my monitor. Oh my gosh, it's breaking.
I think if you like alt drag from the edges, you can shrink the window without.
Yeah, you can. I was just. It's always funny when I turn it on and it just breaks everything. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so we're gonna minimize this. Okay.
Oh no, the Matrix.
Oh no, the Matrix. Okay, so this is our GIF recap. So we do these GIF recaps whenever we have these games. So we have a Bria Ionzar, Perfect. Okay. We have looking over the water. Oh, I love it. The big vault door. Rachel from Friends. Squeak, squeaker, squeak, squeak it. Yes. We have Iron Dog.
Yep.
A very shiny ring. A cat biting the person. And then stare off. I love it.
1,000-yard stare.
1,000-yard stare. I love it. Yep. It's perfect. It's perfect. Okay. Turn off this. Boop. Okay, cool. Yes, we will figure out scheduling, but it sounds like we might be doing one next week by the sound of it. If not, it will be in 2 weeks. So, yeah.
I can't wait another 2 weeks.
This is. I don't want to wait another 2 weeks either.
I'm glad that we're getting to like. I'm gonna be honest. I was super.
I want to do
excited
another
for
session
tonight.
tomorrow.
I can't do one tomorrow, but I was super excited.
I can't
for
do
tonight.
tomorrow either.
I was super excited for tonight because we've been just doing like combat because I was learning how to set this up and everything. So like you guys know, you were my guinea pigs. Like I have learned a lot since we got started. Like my in-person game is nothing like this game, and so I was excited that we got over that hump. And then you guys were like, okay, I'm excited to play this character. I'm excited to do this character, and I'm like, all right, cool. We get to almost have a restart. And, like, we get to kind of, like, re-pull the party together and, like, do shopping and stuff. But you guys aren't broke, and you guys already have some stuff figured out. And you guys know the world a little bit. So, like, I'm excited.
And little do people know, Dax is actually a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, Dax is
Dax is-
loaded. Dax did not share. Dax did not share. And it sounds like Talina didn't share neither currently.
Well, if
Well, there's no one else in the party.
She
There's
has
no-
an IOU note.
That's
There's
true.
no one else in the party to hold them accountable.
Look.
It's true.
Talina and Dax are just the sugar mamas of the group in waiting.
I don't
Sorry,
like this.
what?
I don't like this.
I don't know.
Nope.
I don't know about that.
No.
I don't know about that.
Well-
It was a funny little
I know.
joke
I know.
statement.
We-
It
No,
meant
no, no.
nothing
I'll
by
be the
it.
accountant, not anything else.
I was about to say, Dax didn't agree to this, not yet at least.
Dax did not consent. Dax did not consent.
That's why I said in waiting.
Yes. Yeah. Cool.
Dax is still trying to figure out what
guys-
she's gonna do with what she just saw.
Also, I almost forgot. Fun fact: I did this to my in-person game on Sunday or last Sunday. So the party. So my other party is now in Darun. They're also in the same city as you guys, around the same time, and they're in the north part of Darun. And they overheard some They were trying to like listen in on stuff when they were in a tavern. And they heard stories of your guys' exploits. They heard about you guys killing. They heard about a big water serpent that was killed, and they heard about a robbery that happened at a like a shipwright warehouse or something. And I was like,
I love that.
But here's the thing: you guys just heard one of the things they went through when you guys were overhearing the conversation between the two old men about the
The
caravan.
caravan.
That happened
Yeah,
in
the
their
caravan.
game. That was a thing that happened to them.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep. So you guys are, and I was like trying to keep you guys away. I'm like, I can't cross the streams. We can't do that. But they were like, we're going to Darun. I'm like, I guess we're going to Darun. Like, so.
No, I love that.
So I'm actually thinking, I'm trying to figure out at some point, I may actually have like certain NPCs are going to cross over. It's going to happen, but there might be some character moments where they might cross over depending on how this all plays out. But I would also recommend that it might not be a bad idea for both groups at some point to like watch each other's gameplay, because we record our other games and they stream to an unlisted YouTube like stream. Like we don't publicly do it, but like we'll share links with people. Like Tyrope was watching when we played on Sunday, and I'm working on like upgrading the. Yeah, I'm working on upgrading the audio and like video quality and stuff. That's actually why I have the new webcam. But it'd be cool to like, so you guys can actually see what they're doing and they can see what you're doing. So you actually kind of like help world build, because like they started in a completely other city. They started in the city of Vibreo, which if you look at the, I'll show you. If we go to
The map.
Yeah, I'm going to take you guys here.
It's the map. It's the map.
Oh, nope, that's not that one. Not that one.
Open Foundry again then.
Yeah, it's the landing page is where we want to go. So I'll let everybody load over here. So if we go here and we double click the big map at the bottom, so you can double click where you see the map of Adalia.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys look at the map, if you look north of Darun, you see Sitgreaves Swamp, and then on the north side of that, you see Vibreo. That's where the other party started. So they
Nothing's
started.
opening for me. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it takes a second. It has to load the image because it has to load it from my computer to yours. But that swamp. Here, actually, let me do this so people can see what I'm talking about. We'll just do this. We'll make it easier. Show players. There you go. So yeah, so you guys started in the proper city of Darun on the south part of the river. They started way north of you in Vibreo on Lethune Lake, and then have been doing a lot of adventures in the swamp. And I've had literally just last session got into North Darun. So there's now like streams are gonna start crossing, and I'm like, I don't know how it's gonna go, but it's gonna be cool.
Just
Oh, no,
gotta
that-
set up. Just gotta set up times for some cameo events.
It may happen. It may. I don't know how to pull it off with them unless I'm in one of their sessions. Just because two of them aren't like video gamers. The other two have 3 kids. One of them is totally possible, but 4 of them it's very unlikely. But the flip side of that, we're in a game and you guys can join in because I have all the tech for it. That's actually possible. So that may have to happen at some point. All right, cool.
Trying to figure out how to open the map, but it doesn't work.
It
You
takes
gotta
second.
click a little bit to the left of it.
Yeah, if you click like see where it says the
Oh,
lost
there we
continent of
go.
Adair.
It also
yeah.
It
It
just
also
took a bit.
took a
I just
minute to
opened it a million
load.
times.
Yeah.
Give it a second.
Yeah, and you'll hear a sound effect too. All right.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was confused why nothing
Yep,
happened.
cool.
I realized why nothing
have a
happened.
good one, Shadow.
Yep. See you later, Shadow. Thank you so much.
Bye, Shadow.
We'll wrap up
Bye,
here.
Shadow.
Thank you everybody
Bye.
for watching.
Good night.
Yep. Good night, everybody. We'll get this up on YouTube right away. I'll try to, anyways. And we will see you guys probably next week for another session. And yeah, also, if anyone here that likes watching our online sessions is curious about this in-person game that I keep talking about, we typically play every other Sunday. Much longer sessions. Our sessions typically go anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. I'm not even lying. We start at like 1:30, and we will go until 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, depending on the day. So obviously long sessions. That's why we're going to start recording the VODs and putting them on YouTube unlisted. So if people would like to start watching those and see other stories happening in this same homebrew world, with a completely different cast of characters, please, as long as you're in my Discord, let me know. We are keeping it private for now because the players have requested that, but we are comfortable sharing the links with friends and so on, so people can watch it and watch after the fact. So something you're interested in, let me know in my Discord and we'll make it happen. But for the rest of you guys, have a wonderful night, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.